Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is not the sideshow.
Nope.
This is not the undercard.
Yeah.
Oh, you calling us the undercard now?
I'm trying to go Steve Austin. What? Shut up. What?
So this is in fact not the undercard, despite what Mason says. This is the main event.
What?
Ryan Baldwin here.
What?
With my right-hand man sitting on my left-hand side, the one and only Mason Shepard.
What?
With special guests, Jeremiah Russo.
What?
Because, of course, later there's wrestling talk and Jeremiah has to be here.
What?
Because I can't carry wrestling.
What?
What?
What? What?
Get it out now.
What's happening, y'all? How y'all living, man?
Oh, my goodness. Well, we missed the show last week because I was out with illness, but
Really?
I'm back.
You
What?
had to say it like
I was
that?
out? What's wrong with that?
Anyway.
I don't understand what. Anyway. But.
You know what it is.
No,
right?
I really don't.
Really?
What?
I'm Canadian.
You're Canadian?
I hate you.
Wait, you're telling me you're from Canada?
No,
Ryan-
Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
Just move on with the shit.
Oh,
Program.
sorry, eh?
All right, let's not. We'll be doing that all day if we get started on that. Before wrestling,
Yes.
let's touch on basketball because tonight's the national championship for men's basketball will be played between the North Carolina Tar Heels and the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yep.
Kansas defeated Miami in the Elite Eight and then Villanova in the Final Four,
Yep.
while North Carolina defeated the Cinderella story St. Peter's
Wah.
and then the Blue Bloods Duke, ending Coach K's career.
They really
literally. Poor Coach K. I was rooting for Duke once my picks went out.
Yeah.
I wanted another like Last Dance type documentary because I had already watched the actual Last Dance like 4 times, and I wanted something else to watch. But
I mean, to be fair, we will probably still get it. I mean, Coach K, one of the most winningest coaches in college in sports history, really. So
and
it'll
that's-
just end with like a loss, but you know.
Yeah.
I mean, props to
I mean, hey,
UNC,
Jordan's
man.
ended with he wanted to talk about his Wizards career, and Lord knows that was not the highlight.
we don't need to talk about his Wizards career.
I mean, UNC, give them credit, man. Ending basically 2 Cinderella stories and kind of playing that
Oh,
underdogs.
they're out for blood, man.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
now
crazy.
with Kansas, Kansas being the number 1 seed, and, they kind of have a little bit of a chip on their shoulders that we just took out, like a crazy run.
Yeah.
Why not just finish it right here? So we will.
I feel like UNC will. I want them to, but I feel like they'll take this.
The home of Jordan, man. They better.
I'm hoping that that UNC can finish it out. But really, I'm just hoping for a good game at this point. Once all the dogs are out of the fight, I'm just like, man, I want to see a good basketball
I think
game.
the thing about March Madness and with it ending in the college basketball national championship is college basketball is always the most exciting time in the spring because it's one of those where it's like the tournament, you never know who's going to win. You never know who's going to come out. And then when you get to the last one, it doesn't matter who you support. You're going to pick a team and you're going to cheer for that team and you're going to be upset if your team loses or happy if your team wins. Like that's the thing. March Madness, because sometimes the Super Bowl people are like, I'll watch it, but I don't care who wins. My team's not in it. March Madness, even if your team's not in it, you care. And I think that's one of the best things about the tournament.
you just watch good basketball. And
Exactly.
You watch for the St. Peters that come through, and you watch for the
Exactly, yeah.
upsets.
I think that's
the
really
storylines.
why people watch it. Like
It's
especially for me, I love to see an upset where like literally a team like you just said they can't even afford to have ST for Saint.
It's
and
the
they do
wrestling
this.
of basketball. You're there for the storylines
Yep.
and the
There
and
you exactly.
the
very much
That
is
things
yeah.
behind-
Look
See?
at Ryan
Hey,
putting
yeah,
it
yeah.
together.
Look at Ryan. I'm
teasing for later
Hey,
in the show.
Ryan
off
put
air. He did the Big Show theme song. Now he's
Ryan just put himself over. We just put Ryan over.
yeah. We just put you over, man. You got a pop out of us. See, he's
And
learning.
I'm glad they did not see that in person. So
Yeah, well, they're gonna see it regardless.
they're gonna see it with the camera.
So that's a tip off tonight, and I think it's been a very, very probably one of the better March Madness tournaments like overall in recent
I would
history.
say so. People haven't been able to, because there have been some where people don't talk about it as much, but it's not bad. They just don't really want to speak about it.
Yeah,
as much.
and there's a couple of years where you get like 3 out of the 4 1 seeds in the
Yeah,
Final
it's
Four or something like that.
But this one, everybody's been talking about it. It's been something that everybody's, wanting to keep up with, and the games have been really entertaining. So, I just, good luck to Kansas and UNC. Kansas is in the Big 12, so I will not be rooting for them because,
Yeah, y'all won a game this year at least.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
I mean,
Y'all didn't drop to Abilene Christian like I predicted last year.
I'm still mad at you for that, by the way.
I think this one's been so memorable, just like the history that's been made. You have
Pretty
Coach
much.
Candace's final game.
Yep.
I know everybody knows now St. Peter's the furthest a 15 seed has ever gone.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, I think it's definitely just one of those like, dang, this is something that is definitely for the history books.
Yeah. Because this is the thing. You'll remember where you were when you were like St. Peter's and just the games that were played and stuff like that.
Because I guarantee
or like
you.
10 years from now, it'd be like, hey, remember when St. Peter's
Peter's,
was the
yeah.
I was
Elite
about to
Eight?
say, you will remember that day. We're gonna be
We'll
like,
remember
wow,
it.
that was this long ago. Or like, you ever see that? Where like
Yeah.
ESPN will be like, on this day, like 3 years ago, and you're like, I swear that was.
I
only,
forgot
like,
about that. Yeah,
You're
Yeah.
like, I swear that was like not even like a year ago. That's what's gonna be, man.
Yeah. Realistically, which is interesting.
And then over in the NBA, we are 3 to 4 games out from the playoffs, depending on how many games your teams have left to play.
We went from entertaining to, wait, the NBA still going on?
I didn't
literally,
even know the NBA
Russo
was
was
ending.
he was like, they've already played 82?
You know why though? Because NHL isn't over till the end of the month. So
That
that's
is-
why, like,
Yeah,
they
so-
started May. So I was like, because they had played the same amount of games. So I
Yeah.
was surprised because usually they end around the same time.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, wait, like what?
Yeah, because usually they end and then it's baseball that's left, and then I roll my eyes because, baseball. But,
But I mean, looking at the standings, man, I mean, you have, as we all can probably say almost confidently, the Lakers are not even in a spot.
There's still 4 games to play,
yeah.
They
and they're
have a
only 2
chance.
games out behind the Spurs, but
Okay,
they do
but,
need
like-
Spurs to drop quite a few games, and they need to actually win, which might be
But
the
they
bigger
play
challenge.
Phoenix. They play the Suns.
You lose that one.
Yep.
You're playing the Warriors.
You lose that one.
Yeah.
You're playing OKC. You might get a steal off
I don't
that.
know. The Thunder have been
They
had
have-
their number a couple of times.
You
Yeah.
have, if you lose 2 of these games, you're out.
Yeah, and you
So,
got
and you're facing the Suns, and you're facing the Warriors, and you're gonna end with the Nuggets with Jokic and Jamal Murray. So that is gonna be
Yeah.
is Murray back?
maybe, I don't
I
know.
thought he was still out. I don't remember.
He, to be honest, he's like one of the most like not overrated, but he's like one of those superstars that like you don't really care for because like he's kind of like okay, Jamal Murray.
Eh.
Eh.
That's what you think when you think Nuggets. You think, eh.
But it's crazy
But
because
then
they're
you
a
have
good
Jokic,
team. But when
yeah.
you just look at them, you're like, there's like nothing really flashy about them.
No, and that's look, here's the reality. And that's the thing about professional basketball that's always been kind of weird. If you don't have some sort of entertainment value, like something that makes you stand out, like whether it's a guy or whatever, or a uniform, whatever, then people just they blow snot at you because it's just like you can be good all you. The Spurs, for instance, we respect how good they are, but everybody in this room
The
will
Spurs
say
are-
the Spurs are one of the most boring teams. To
Even
pay
when they were
attention to.
winning championships,
That's what
they
I'm
were
saying
boring.
too. It's like they're boring.
Like Tim Duncan was your star, and like the flashiest play of Tim Duncan's
Kawhi
career
Leonard.
may have been his first dunk and that was like the flashiest
The
play of his career.
Spurs, besides Popovich, the Spurs are the definition of a team that is a black hole of charisma. Like just a charisma vacuum. Everybody on the Spurs is boring. Kawhi, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili,
But it's
Tim
because they all
Duncan.
buy. That's
But-
Popovich's thing, and
Yeah,
they
that's
all
what
buy
yeah.
into
Well,
it.
I mean, when you had someone who's your coach who's also in the military, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
he wasn't gonna be like, okay, I want you to do a windmill jam, Tim, and Tony, I want you to have Kawhi Leonard level, Kyrie Irving handles. Like, I want you to start. No, they were like, okay, go out and win. It's kind of like Alabama, but the difference is Alabama's not really in football. They're not really boring to watch, but at the same time, they're not Oregon. They don't come up with flashy uniforms.
They don't
and-
need to come out flashy,
But that's
though.
what-
They
don't
come
need
out
it.
and they dominate.
So
And I mean,
pretty
looking
much,
at
yeah.
the Spurs, we got the schedule up here. They have 4 games left as well. They face the Nuggets tomorrow night, so we'll see how that goes. Then they face Minnesota. Then they go to Warriors, and they go to Dallas. So they are the
Tough.
team right now that could put away the Lakers.
Can I just say, by the way, how stupid the play-in tournament is again?
I disagree. I think
Okay.
it's a
So you think that the San Antonio Spurs, who right now are 33 and 45, should be able to even go to the playoffs.
It's the same thing as
beat the
15th
Timberwolves.
seed, whatever the heck.
Yeah, Peter.
But
Peacock.
that
It is this. I think
it's different because they take 64 teams. The NBA literally went, okay, we're gonna go from 8 games, and all those teams have winning records.
Yeah.
At least all the teams that make it into March Madness have winning records.
Oh.
You're telling me the San Antonio Spurs, who are 33 and 45, might go to the playoffs, while the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are 45 and 34, might not, depending on how the tournament goes, based on a best of one.
See, I think it's a good idea. It gives those teams that, that may have missed it by one game, where they're like half a game back. It gives them a shot to prove, hey, maybe we didn't, because you can't always look at the record,
Or
man,
it gives them a shot to be like, hey, maybe you should have won one more freaking game during the regular season.
Things happen during the season. I think it's great.
And that's part of it.
You saw the Grizzlies take out the Warriors in the play-in last year, and you're like, holy crap, that actually happened. I think it's
and I don't think the Grizzlies were a better team. I think the playoffs should be the 8 best teams in the conference going against each other.
It gives this a little bit, because I'm going to be real with you. We like college basketball. NBA basketball is the same old garbage. I'm sorry. It's always going to be a 4-0 or like a 4-1 series victory. And I'm like, okay, that's not interesting. I don't need to see a number 1 team absolutely pound an 8 seed. I want to see these underdog teams that actually, they're there to fight. They're not there to, you see, let's say the Nets, they're like, okay, we got this. We're going to take it on. Then you look on the other side. These guys are going up against, Andre the Giant. This is another David and Goliath match. And then they come out. I think it's great for the sport. I think other leagues like the NHL, I think they should keep that. They're not gonna because of the bubble. I think other leagues should look kind of into that. Even the MLB just expanded theirs. I think it gives those teams that, are rebuilding and they kind of, they need. I think it's a great idea.
Imagine the crap that the league would get if the NFL said, you know what? Let's just take every team for the conference.
This is not every team, though.
No, but you're the farther where do you stop it, though? Because now you're it gives those teams, do the Rockets deserve, they're 20 and 59. Do the Magic deserve a chance to do it? Like you said, stuff happens during the season. Bradley Beal went down for an injury for a long part of the season.
It was always 8 teams, right, in the playoffs?
8
so
teams,
all they did was add 2.
No, but they took the opportunity away from 7-8 based on one game. Before, if you were 7-8, you were going to the playoffs.
So
basically, you're still the 8th
to
best
get
team.
to that 8 teams, 7 and 8 play for
7 plays 10.
Yeah.
And 8 plays 9.
9, yeah.
So in this situation right now, the Spurs, who are 12 games below 500, could beat the Timberwolves in one game and go to the playoffs, while the Timberwolves, who are right now 11 games above 500, could miss the playoffs.
That's the magic of basketball, man.
No, but no, because
he doesn't want, and I can understand that. It's basically and this is a perfect example. When it was the controversy with Ohio State, when it was the college football playoffs, when they started,
when it was Texas and Ohio,
and people were like, okay, why is Ohio State getting in? They don't deserve it. This team I can't remember what the team was that got snubbed. But they got.
I think it was A&M. I think it was Texas A&M.
It was A&M. It was Texas A&M. And I hate Aggies. Ugh. But they actually had a better season. But they got snubbed because they weren't Ohio State. And it's one of those things where I get what you're saying. Where it's I can see both sides. Let's start with him. I can get him saying that this adds entertainment value because it does. Because at the end of the day, sports is also entertainment. And I get you being like, well, yeah, if the Magic make it in, I mean, sure, they'll probably get bounced out, but at least, the Magic made it in.
It's not like they're going all the way to
But I
the
get what
NBA
you're saying,
finals.
where it's they don't deserve it, because it's they're not the better team.
Right.
And
if you want to add, that kind of excitement to it, expand it to, 12 teams, and then have that 12th seed be, 13 or 12 through 16.
But then
do
you're
a
adding
tournament
too
for
many teams, where your point is now you have too many.
Exactly. So I think already that
so then
adding
it's
the 2
why
is
do
too
it,
yeah. So at what point do you stop? At what point is it too many teams?
I think it's fine the way it is right now.
Right,
but
why now? Why are the Spurs at 33 and 45?
Because they
able
suck
to compete
in their division. I'm sorry. That's
right.
Just...
So when does it stop? Do the Kings deserve a chance? Do the Thunder deserve a chance? Do the Rockets deserve a chance?
They're already out.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Where do you you're saying it's excitement and the Spurs have a chance?
Right where it is right now, I think it's perfectly fine.
So you're fine with a team that's 12 games below 500 getting a chance to get into the playoffs.
What are the actual odds that the Spurs, if they make it, are going to the NBA Finals and winning? It is very low, but it gives you that holy crap, this underdog story of this team literally had no shot, no chance whatsoever.
But so the Timberwolves actually may have a chance. They are a solid team with a young core.
There should be a lob pass to the Minnesota Timberwolves then. If you have a
But
team
it's one game. That if it was a 3-game series, totally down for that.
Then the
but
series
it's a
is
one
too long.
game. It's one game. Anything can happen in one game.
That's true.
So why is there playoff? Like basically, your entire playoff or your entire season is trying to get to 6 and higher. And if you're not in 6 and higher because the West is stacked, and getting to 6 in the West is hard. Number 6 is 14 games above 500, and that Utah Jazz are still 16 games behind first place, and 9 games behind second. So you're in a stacked Western Conference, and you're getting punished because you're still 11 games above 500, but you're in 7th place. And so you have to play a team that's 12 games below 500, a team that by all metrics is much worse in one game.
So then prove
make
it.
The playoffs.
So the problem is now they have to prove that they belong.
But why? Why should they have to?
What do you mean? Why should
they have to prove that they're better than a team that was in 10th? They did that through the entire course of the season.
Because you know how we look at even like the NFL, or the people are like, let's rank their schedules, and they'll have like the Bears is like the 3rd hardest, and the Cowboys is like that. It's kind of the same way here. You look at the schedules, you look at the conference. Obviously, I'm not going to disagree. The West is hella stacked, so it is going to be harder for teams to move up if they don't get some key wins. I think just like that, it also comes down to like scheduling. Sometimes it's harder. So you should be able, by you're saying, why do they need to prove themselves? I'm going to be honest with you. They don't have to. But at the same time, if you are that high in the standings, you should be looking like this as a squash match. You can be like, okay, we can handle it.
But it's one game.
And that's the best part because it is just one game.
No, it's not.
And things can change and it can happen. And then you get these Cinderella stories that people fall for.
You two are on. It's funny watching you two be on this,
entertainment perspective.
Sides.
Fine, it is entertaining. If your goal for the playoffs is to determine the best team, it is not fine.
Then if you want the best team, I would not even get top 8. Give me top 4.
Sure, I'm
top
fine
4.
with top 4.
If you want best of the best, but the problem is the NBA isn't all about best of the best. It is very also sports entertainment, and where they're gonna try to get some money deals, and so by adding more of these teams in, they get more money.
I get your point though, because it's like, we all have seen those teams that, they get like a fluke win, and at this point, like a fluke win decides when I get to the playoffs.
As great as St. Peter, as the Cinderella story is for St. Peter's, for an entertainment perspective, nobody is going to look and say, oh yeah, that means St. Peter's was then better than Kentucky and all these teams that they beat. They played better.
They played
for
better.
one game.
Yeah,
but nobody's looking at
it. If it was a series,
right?
It would be
if it was a best of, even if it was a best of 3 series, they'd probably lose that series
which would make sense
9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing. It's like I don't like the play-in tournament because it gives these teams that would not make the playoffs in any other situation.
You just make a
game.
Final Four of the NBA. Grab the top 2 teams, put them together, or
Sure.
even that, or just give me the top.
Why not?
2.
Yeah.
Give me what? What is it? The Suns and what? Give me the Suns in Miami and just battle it out. Is that what you'd rather have?
It's because, and you said it, and like that's what I've been hearing. That's why I've been letting you two go. It's 2 different perspectives. He's looking at the entertainment aspect. You're looking at the sports and statistics aspect.
And there's a line between there.
Yes, obviously, yeah.
But my opinion is that for a one game, that it's neither entertain. Like, think of all the Timberwolves fans now that you lose if they drop out.
Now,
you think the Spurs fans are instantly going to go?
I will admit with you, I do agree that if you are one of these top teams and you get like blown out by the Spurs, it does hurt your team and it hurts your fan base. I agree with that. That is a problem. But at the same time, if you are that good, you should have no problem going up against this whatever seeded team, and you should kick their butt. That's how it should be.
But no, we say that. We say that, but this is the NBA. This is professional sports. These are professional athletes, and it happens all the time in the NFL where you're looking at it going like, oh, yeah, this team, I mean, you're going into the Jaguars. This should be easy. And, because they're all professional athletes, these are the top 0.01% of basketball players in the world. It does not matter if you are a bench player on the Orlando Magic. The fact that you made it there means you are the cream of the crop. And anything at that level can happen in one game.
That is true.
So that's why the one game is. I have no problem with the play-in tournament if it's a best of series, like even best of 3.
But then here's the thing: then you can't have every round be a best of 7 then? Because if you want to do a best of 3 for play-in, you're gonna have to
Yeah.
start taking in
That first round used to be best of 5.
You're gonna have to do what the MLB does is start doing first round as best of 3,
Sure.
best of 3, best of 5.
Play
make
in
the
best
final.
of 3. First round best of
That-
5. Second, third, fourth best
The
of
problem
7.
with scheduling is you'd have to back-to-back games instead of
it would be
game
back-to-back
here and then a
games.
week off, a day off, then another game. You'd have to go back-to-back to speed it up, and that would just kill your players in the end.
Wait a minute.
What?
Wasn't there a point in the NBA where they were doing that
That's what-
anyway?
yeah, the first round was best of 5.
Yeah, the first round.
No. I'm saying for
and-
the play-in tournament, you because for every series, it's always like
What?
day off,
To-
game off.
Right, but who says that you have to mess with the scheduling? You just
Yeah.
extend it by a week.
Yeah,
You have the play-in tournament be the first week, and you just move everything back a
and
week.
even then,
There's not like the NBA have like a set like, oh, we got to be done by
Well, you
July,
don't have
by June
to, but at the
1st.
same time, it's
yeah,
like
and also the NBA, and I'm not disputing your point, but even though also the NBA, excuse me, because I remember watching this when LeBron was with the Heat and other stuff when they would face Pacers and whatever. They've had series where it's back-to-back
Yeah.
days where it's like, okay, we play Monday and then we're playing Tuesday. Then, like you said, they would take a day.
Then
But
yeah,
they're
you
playing
do it. You got
Thursday
2 day
and Friday.
break,
Yeah,
and you got
so-
Thursdays.
They've already done that before.
yeah,
so-
but then you got to look at like player health and fatigue, and
well,
then
I
if you're
mean, you kind of
and
have
if
to
you're
do that
tired,
anyway.
and let's say
Well,
LeBron,
if you're doing player health and fatigue, why are the Timberwolves having to play an extra game, even though they would have been 7-8? They would have been 7 seed without the play-in tournament. They would have had the extra rest, but now they have to play an extra game.
Yeah, that is true.
I see that point.
And also, if you do a series that compromises players' health, too, like you were talking about, this whole, I mean, here's the thing, it does it either way. That's obviously because football is so physical. That's why football will never have a tournament like that. It'll always just be a one and done. But I think it's one of those where we can't really compare this to football because football. It's one of those, like we saw with Cincinnati. It's one of those things where if a team gets a fluke victory, then it's kind of known. It's like, okay, they got a fluke victory, but because here's the thing, we knew Cincinnati wasn't going to beat Bama. You know what I mean? That's the thing. With basketball, it's one of those where I agree with them. Sometimes you don't know, but I also agree with you. It's like, yeah, even if you don't, it doesn't mean that they're going to,
The Spurs are Cincinnati right now.
Yeah.
In this scenario, they are the team where if they get in, does anybody really think that they would beat the Suns
No.
or the Grizzlies
No.
or the Warriors
No.
in a best of
my
7
point,
and then
though.
get
you
to
don't
the
expect
East?
these teams, and not even I expect if they were to beat the Timberwolves, I don't expect them to go 7 games with the Suns. Heck no.
Exactly. So why are you taking away from the Timberwolves, who have been a much better team and could possibly do it?
At this point, it's a new thing, and it's called money and sponsorships and all that fun stuff that
Right.
the NBA cares about.
And you could do that. Here's the thing. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, why not throw more games at it? Get some more money out of it. Make it a 2 out of 3.
I'll let you talk to Adam Silver yourself.
yeah, absolutely.
I will call him and I will let you know because I do not know the answer to that
Somebody
one.
get me Adam Silver.
However,
Folks, this is one of the greatest parts about this show. When we talk about stuff that Ryan gets so hot about, then he starts cussing and doing all this
he
other
does
stuff.
it to himself.
Here's
now.
the thing. Like, I even get it in the East where there's 4 teams that are separated by like 2.5 games. Like the East is Cavaliers, Hawks, Hornets, Nets.
Okay.
And they're all within 2.5 games. And they are like the Nets are only 10.5 games behind the Heat in the first.
I have an answer for you in a second. Finish your thought.
Okay. So I almost get this where it's like, given, if Kyrie plays the whole season, maybe the Nets are above the Cavaliers.
And this is what I was about to say. It
But-
also matters about injuries because sometimes you can start out really great, and then let's say you lose a player for the entire season, and it just goes down the hill.
And you know what I say to that?
what?
That's sports. It
And
sucks.
you know what I say when the Timberwolves lose to the Spurs? That's sports. Because that is.
But that is an artificially created 1-game scenario by the NBA. That is something new. Injuries have been occurring for as long as sports have been
Well,
played.
that's
Well,
a no.
yeah, but
dirt.
okay, now I'll agree with him. That's still sports, though, Ryan. I get what you mean, but at the end of the day,
Because
if
look
they
at the
lose,
Bulls.
they
They
lose.
were number 1. They lose Caruso. They lose
Yeah,
Zoe. They lose
because
Zach
I mean, what would you
Levine,
say
they
if
lose
what would you
Patrick
say
Williams.
what would you say if they lost? Well, they lost
'Cause you know
it's
how
not
people-
I'd say
fair.
that's I'd
You
say
know how
that no, I'd
people
say
are?
that's sports.
Oh my!
Exactly.
I had-
if LeBron wasn't
when-
injured, we would have went all the way.
when
Okay,
when
play-in
Dak
tournament.
went down with that knee injury, I was just like, okay, well, that's sports.
Yeah.
But I'm not going like, oh, well, the Cowboys should make the playoffs because obviously they would have made the playoffs if
And
if Dak.
see, you do that. Let's be real. Most people are gonna think that way. Oh, if Kyrie was here the entire time, we would be the #1 seed. Now we're stuck in the 10.
Right.
That's just how it is.
So then
too.
you don't make the playoffs for a year. That's how sports be. People
Yeah.
don't think that it'd be like it is, but it do.
Like that entire sentence was just ebonic. That's how sports be. People don't think it'd be like that.
But it do.
Bro, Ryan
Yeah.
handled his inner hood
For-
right there.
And that's
It
just
really
how
is.
sports is. That's just how injuries have been a part of sports, and it's not always the best team that wins. Sometimes it's the healthiest team.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there, I
But-
can say the same. And I
but
can say the exact
to-
same.
But to bring that all down to one game it'd be different if the NBA had like previously done a play-in tournament or had always done a play-in tournament. But the fact that they went from an established format for decades.
To be fair,
into-
it was because of COVID, and they found out it worked, and it kind of gave people something to do over this horrible
No, they
thing.
found out they could make more money off of it.
Yeah,
Not that
pretty
it
much.
worked, because I don't think that
The
it
more
works.
games that are on TV, the more money they make.
We
Hey,
can
I
agree
mean,
on or disagree on whether
Were you not
works.
happy when the NBA came back for a little bit and they
No.
added more teams? I was, because I was done sitting at home just doing nothing.
Well, everybody was, but that had nothing to do with the NBA. That had everything to do with sports.
yeah.
That wasn't NBA specific. I was more happy that hockey was back as opposed to the NBA.
Boo!
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mind. I didn't care for the NHL
That's fine.
playoffs.
No, but
And
like
that's
that.
sad.
But it was a sports thing. We were all like, okay, sports is back.
Sports
And
is,
at least in COVID, I think for a lot of us, the sports coming back was part of a return to normalcy. Right?
Yeah.
This is where I think that play-in tournament comes, because it also came because they didn't finish their season. I think they had like 10 games left.
Sure, but why? Like the NHL didn't take they took the
But
they don't
here's
take
the
an
thing,
expanded
though. If
season
you were to
anymore.
take away that play-in tournament, you would say, even though the Lakers weren't in the play-in tournament, you would say, that it wouldn't have counted. And the same thing for Tampa. You would have said, okay, or it wouldn't have counted because it was in a bubble.
What? Wait, what are we talking about?
I'm saying the Lakers, they weren't in that play-in tournament, right? In 2020? They weren't in that.
When they
were-
won the title.
Yeah.
Were they in the play-in on that
No,
one?
they were not in the play.
Okay.
So they won.
Uh-huh.
That don't matter. You could say that if you were to take it away now, all the teams and the matchups that would happen, you would say the Lakers didn't win it because it was a one-time special thing. Take it over to the hockey side. They also had a bubble in which teams actually from the play-in tournament and still got their chance in. They made it into the conference finals and they made it into the semis. Even though Tampa still won, you can also say the same argument that Tampa, this cup didn't really matter because it was a fluke playing thing.
I don't think I follow that one. but-
Basically, it's one of those, and he'll tell me if I don't present this right. Basically, with the Lakers and their positioning with the play-in tournament, it's one of those. It's like it's the same conversation. Sometimes you're not getting the best of the best, right? So when you have this play-in tournament and you win, it's like, okay, they were playing, but the Timberwolves were out and the Spurs
Because you know
were
how
in.
Tyler Hero was
Yeah,
hitting
exactly.
45 points a game
It's
and
like
sinking it.
it's basically like the worst team somehow found their way in, and the best team overall
But that's
won.
also where it is sports.
No,
and
but that's what I'm
how
But
it
I would
is.
also argue the Heat actually were a good team. Or
Yeah,
they were in the makings of a
But
good
so was
they-
Devin Booker going 10-0 and they didn't make the playoffs.
because they were already down but they took the standings and then just went from
Yeah.
there.
But at the same
This is-
time, the bubble kind of even the NBA players talked about it themselves. Because it's all about that depth perception
Yeah.
too. Tyler Hero, Goran Dragic, they were outstanding in the bubble. You look now, they're still good. But I mean, you look at Tyler Hero and now they're like, what the heck is gone with this dude? He let all that 15 seconds of fame or 15 minutes just go to his head, and now he's kind of just slobbing it out there. Does that make sense?
No, I still don't see how this pertains to the play-in tournament though.
What do you mean? The play-in tournament, they had to have faced people from the play-in tournament. You know what I mean?
From the bottom four?
Yes, the play-in tournament was from the NBA. I'm trying to rethink it too. I'll make sure I'm following my point because I'm starting to get lost too.
I'm so dead.
Hold on. I got it, y'all. I got it. Let's put the actual teams. I
Yeah,
know
let's take a look at this here, sir.
intermission time.
Hilarious.
It was playoffs, NBA 2022 playoffs.
The bubble was they just took the people that were in they took 22 of the 30 teams in the league, all clubs within 6 games of a playoff spot. And then those guys played 8 regular season
Yeah.
seeding games. They kept their record and their standings.
Yeah.
But the guys are at the bottom. It's just they didn't have a play-in tournament. It was they just played the last 8 games of the season.
Gotcha.
And then the top 8 went to each one. It was the following year that they had the actual play-in tournament with the bottom 4 teams.
Who won it last year again?
The play-in tournament or the
It was the
Bucks
Bucks
won
right?
everything,
It was
yeah.
the Bucks.
Yeah.
Man, I never thought I would be live long enough to see the Bucks win something. That's crazy.
Bro, I'm still mad.
But yeah, so
Damn foot.
those
That's not a swear. That shouldn't count.
there was no play-in tournament. They just played the last 8 games of the regular season.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see the bracket. Let me see. NBA 2020. Bottom line, I think it's a good idea just because it brings in money. I know we can add more games. That's fine too. It brings money in.
And here's the other thing: how much money does it actually bring in?
I don't know. Ask Adam Silver yourself. I don't know.
So then you can't use that as an argument. You can't say it brings in money.
You definitely can't. Anytime you have a game that brings in money.
Right, but like, what's the cost versus the loss? If the Spurs win, do you think a bunch of Spurs fans are coming out of the woodwork? Exactly, but you can't use that as a defense if you're going to be like, okay, yeah, okay.
Let's see. Okay. NBA. What do you want to know? What do you want to know?
How much money does this play-in tournament actually bring in?
How
Yeah,
much
well, because
money
the
I'll
Timberwolves
fact check.
have been watching.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves fans have been watching games all season. If they lose in the playoff tournament, do you think any of them are going to watch the rest of the playoffs?
Probably not.
Do you think Spurs fans are all of a sudden going to be like, oh man, I'm going to watch all that? No.
No.
No. You have invested fans expecting a playoff spot that will then just not watch.
Yeah.
And because you want to know why? Because if Dallas was in that spot, I wouldn't watch either because I'd say Dallas should have been in the playoffs. I'm just not going to watch. This is stupid.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I think more so they try to make their money off sponsorships.
Sure,
From those games. But I know what you mean. And it's a good point.
I'm just like if you did a series so that the better team wins more often, theoretically as they should.
That's how it already is right now.
Not in the playoff tournament, play-in tournament.
Well, not in the play-in tournament, but in general, yeah.
Sure, but that's what I'm saying. Do it in the play-in tournament. So that way, if the Spurs win 2 out of 3 against the Timberwolves, fine. You got them.
But what if somebody's injured the first game and now if their
sports.
star players? Exactly, that's sports.
Right. But if your guy goes down the first game, you still have 2 more games.
Yeah.
Like imagine if Karl Anthony Towns goes down in the play-in game. He wouldn't have been playing in that play-in game. He might not have been injured for the playoffs. You would have had him for the whole playoffs. But no, that's sports because y'all wanted to play 1 extra game.
That's what happens when you need money. Or you don't need money. That's what happens
They don't
when you
even
want to
need
get
money. Bro,
Let me finish my damn thought,
You think the NBA
boy.
needs money?
I meant to say that's what they get for wanting, not needing. Holy crap. Brother can't even let me finish a damn sentence.
Well, brother can't even use the right word.
Brother, you cursed on your own damn thing. What you mean?
Can we stop saying damn?
Listen here, brother.
Seriously.
Hey, he just did a Hulk Hogan ass too.
Can we move on?
I hate the play-in tournament. Y'all talk about wrestling. We're going to take a break. And I guess
hate the
we'll,
play-in
I
tournament.
don't know. I'll let y'all talk wrestling while I decompress. Don't go anywhere. We'll take a break. See you on the other side. Welcome back to the main event. Ryan Baldwin still here with Mason Shepard.
Yep.
And Jeremiah Russo.
Yeah.
And gentlemen, I understand this past weekend was something a little exciting.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. You know, this was Wrestlemania. Mania.
Oh, was that it? Just that?
Well, it was also NXT Stand and Deliver. And the Hall of Fame.
Well,
But also Ring of Honor and whatever did shows. Whatever.
a lot of wrestling stuff. And so we'll cap off our wrestling episodes of the spring with the WrestleMania recap. Gentlemen, take it away.
Boom. So, WrestleMania weekend, it was, I would say, I will not say it was stupendous. I hate when they add buzzwords.
They
to stuff.
need to. I never want to hear that word again.
Yeah, me
after
neither.
this weekend.
Yeah, but thankfully we're going to be watching Raw, so we won't have to hear them say it. But on SmackDown, we're going to hear Pat say it a lot.
Oh yeah.
But no, I think it was a very good weekend for pro wrestling in general. Ring of Honor had their show.
Let's take it broad. So we'll do
Yeah.
WrestleMania as a whole. What do you score it? What would you out of 10? What would you giving it?
7.
7?
It was very good, and it exceeded a lot of people's expectations. Because remember, we talked about people were gonna be like, "Oh, this WrestleMania is gonna suck," and it didn't.
I give it an 8.5.
Okay.
And I will dive in a little bit.
Yeah.
So obviously a lot to break down.
Yeah.
Night 1. See, I'm gonna pull up the match card real quick for night 1. This is what we had going on.
Yeah.
So so we start off. We got the Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
I feel like that match was gonna be really good until Boogs.
Yes. So
got hurt.
for those who don't know, Rick Boogs tried to do a fancy little spot where he grabs both Usos on his back. And
fireman's carry both of
his
them.
knee decided not to participate.
Nope.
And he tore his quad and his patellar tendon, which basically holds your entire patella, if you don't know what that is. Needs surgery. So that is a long time that he's going to be out.
Well, see, and the problem with that spot is people can do that. And he's strong enough to be able to. But the problem was, and I know I'm going to hear Cornette describe this, and he'll be right, was when he was already kind of squatting when he had Jimmy on his back. And then when Jay jumped, he was trying to push up, but Jay's getting on when he's trying to push up, and his knee, it went out.
And I think even when he was carrying the one guy, he kind of dropped to a knee at first.
Yeah.
I thought that was for show and kind of set it up. But I think, again, it is a lot of weight. And I know we talked about this earlier. Not everybody can do the John Cena with
because
the
Cena's
Big
not
Show
human, no.
and Edge
Cena
on his
picked
back.
up Big Show when he still weighed, I think, 500, and Edge, people think, oh, look at him. Edge weighs 240. He's not
You wouldn't
small.
even think that looking at him. I would
That's
say
what I'm
about like
saying.
180 or 190.
180, maybe 210. Edge is 240 pounds. So 240 pounds, and he's 6.
So that's 600
and
pounds
he's 6
plus
foot,
on there.
Yeah, on Cena's shoulders.
Almost 700. Yeah.
On Cena's shoulders and fireman's carry, and he walked with them both, and then Edge got off, and then he did the Big Show, but it's still to hold that's insane. But we wish Rick Boogs a speedy recovery. There's nothing else really more to make out of that match.
I mean, honestly, I looked at that and I started to question. I was like, why are we opening up with this match? Because
I agree with that decision because Boogs gets the crowd.
I get
amped.
he gets the crowd going. At the same time, do you really want to open up with a tag match?
Yeah.
That's where I kind of.
Well, where would that fit in the show? I don't want to see that after Cody.
I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that after Bianca's match either. We'll get to that. I don't want to.
You want to? Unfortunately, I got to put some tag team matches. They are mid card or like right after the opener, because you got to start off with a bang. You got to start off with a bang. To me, start off with a bang. We'll get through all the matches later, but the match, it was a decent match for what it was. Obviously, we saw the decision
It had to be cut
end,
short, yeah.
because you can't fight 2-on-1.
No.
Oh no, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was what you gonna do.
Yeah.
Then we had Happy Corbin versus Drew
Oh
McIntyre.
my God, this match should have been on the pre-show if McIntyre wasn't in it.
This match, it was a decent
Boo.
match. I didn't care for it as much. However,
Nobody should have.
nobody did, but I mean, after it kind of didn't help. We started off with, in my opinion, two slower style matches, and so I mean, the other
This
thing
has been
too is go ahead.
No, this has been a bad feud for Drew.
Yeah.
He's been dealing with Corbin and his vacuum of charisma for way too long. Corbin and Moss, they're not over. They're boring. They're really cringy to listen to with their bad jokes and this bad gimmick. I love Jose. I don't care what he says about that. They're not over. And I think for me, McIntyre having to deal with this idiot for so long is just no. The only thing that this did for me is remind me that fans still care about Drew McIntyre because
And let me tell you something about that. My girlfriend, we took her to SmackDown, right?
Yeah.
I took her. She didn't know who Drew was really,
yeah.
but she saw his statue and like the reaction, and she loves him. She's like, that's like her second favorite beside Roman now is to have Drew McIntyre.
I would hope so because
And
McIntyre's
I mean,
supposed to be the top babyface on SmackDown.
He is a phenomenal wrestler, and to be
Without
kind
a
of
doubt.
stuck in this thing. I mean, we just saw him last year at WrestleMania. He was winning the title, and now I think maybe just give importance to we'll talk about it more later. I know we're getting a little bit ahead, but we'll talk about the U.S. and the IC title. Have Drew fight for those, man.
Well,
it'll give it some prestige.
What's more than likely going to happen is Drew's going to be looking eye to eye. We're not going to say with who yet, but he's going to be looking eye to eye with the winner of the Universal Championship and WWE
Yeah.
title unification match. But we're not going to give away who that was.
And so we are gonna go on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a match. At the end, he
Blah.
cuts the ring with the sword. I was like, okay, maybe that's
Okay.
fake, but at the same time,
The more that they use that sword, the more it's becoming obvious it's not real. The more it's becoming obvious.
But you know what we saw too? So we were actually at the show, so obviously they're not gonna show like the bad stuff. I kid you not, the sword is that big, right?
Yeah.
That sword bent almost to like a four. It went like this. I was like, holy crap, they're gonna break the sword, and what are they gonna do now?
Yeah.
And so I mean,
Here's the thing, and we're stuck on Drew McIntyre. The problem with Drew McIntyre is that he's got great charisma. He's a great wrestler, but they had to put a hat on the hat. I loved the Celtic Colossus, the Scottish Psychopath, Scottish Terminator monikers because it was the truth. That's what he is. But they started the Scottish Warrior, and he has to tell Scottish folklore, and he's got to walk around with this sword. His entrance isn't special anymore. He does that sword, fire, boom thing. He does it every entrance. It's not special anymore. If they would have left that alone, then people would have been like, oh, yeah. But now it's just like...
I agree. I think, you know how Finn Balor has his demon? We don't really see that a lot. If they did that with the sword and he kind of plants it in the ground with all the pyro stuff, that would be something to definitely see.
It would be better, but since he's the Scottish Warrior, which they couldn't think of anything more creative, because that's literally just the Celtic Warrior, but you just exchange Celtic for Scottish. It's literally all that is. And like I said, he had great monikers coming in. Celtic Colossus, great. Scottish Terminator, fantastic. Scottish Psychopath, yeah.
That's probably his best one.
Yes, because that is something you could tap into. He's like, he could cut a promo and he could be a babyface. He's like, I need to tap into the Scottish Psychopath, something like that. But that's over now. So it's just like, okay, he's a Scottish warrior, whatever. I love Drew, but he needs to do something else.
Good news is today is Raw After Mania, so
Yeah.
that's when a lot of the new storylines pick up. So we are actually going in person. So
Yeah,
we will
very
see,
excited.
We will see what we got going on.
Yeah.
But up next, this match has been debated, and I'm gonna be honest with you. This is probably my match of the night.
Oh yeah,
And this is
I know
very
what this is,
debated.
yeah.
It is The Miz and special guest Logan Paul versus Dominic and Rey Mysterio.
I did not care for this match.
A lot of people did it, but I'll let you go, and then I'll tell you why.
You know, I know that you enjoyed it because of what Logan was able to do. I didn't mean to steal that from you, but I know you enjoyed it because of what Logan was able to do. But here's the thing, right? We all know, you, me, and Jose all know The Miz could be doing so much more. And it's like every celebrity, because Miz is a celebrity, every celebrity that comes in, Miz has to work a program with them.
But at the same time, give Miz the credit for being able to work with these
Yeah, that's
celebrities
true.
that, have Logan Paul.
But we know
trained
how
a little bit, but
yeah,
like
but
Bad
we know how it ends, though. It's going to end in a tag team match at Mania. The only thing shocking about this was that he actually won, and he got the pin. The last few years he was getting beat. He actually won and got the pin to win. That's the biggest shocking thing about this for me. I think that Logan Paul definitely looked impressive. They're gonna keep him around and have him do other stuff. But yeah, whatever. Entertaining, not boring. Like the Drew match was boring.
This was, in my opinion, like we just said, this
Yeah.
is my match of the night, and I'll tell you why. People don't like Logan Paul. That I can understand. You can hate him as a character, but you got to give credit where credit is due. For this guy to do the Three Amigos, if you don't know what that is. That is Eddie Guerrero's little special
And
signature
Eddie
move.
was Ray's best friend, so
Exactly. So it was almost like a slap in the face for
To Ray
Mysterio
to have to take
not to
that,
do
yeah.
it. Or I think it was Ray, right?
Yeah,
or was
no,
it
Ray-
Dominic?
Ray was the one that took him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ray was the one who took those bumps.
Ray
Yeah.
tried to do it. Logan said, "Watch this." Did it almost better. I was kind of surprised. I was like, "Wow, this guy is actually athletic." And not only that, to add insult to injury, from the top rope does the Eddie Shimmer and the frog splash.
Yeah.
I can tell you, you can ask my girlfriend. I jumped out of my seat when this happened, and I begged the ref for a 3 count. I was so invested in this.
You know what?
And that's the thing is, I think some
That
people
would have been awesome because that would have gotten him so much heel heat.
top heel in the entire fan base or entire WWE. I would put
you
him
do
almost-
know Roman is still a heel, right? I'm not
Yes.
going to put him over Roman
Yes,
Reigns.
yes. Not my fault. My fault.
Yeah.
Maybe for Raw.
Yeah, for Raw.
Over. I'd put him a little bit over Kevin Owens. Obviously, Kevin Owens is still good.
We'll get to him
We'll get
later.
there.
He had so much fun that
But
night.
I'm just saying, Logan Paul pulling off those moves, and for Miz to still kind of carry and orchestrate a good match.
Yeah,
I just thought
because the crowd was into it.
the crowd was into it. Let me tell you, those are the loudest boos I think I've ever heard. Like, even against Austin Theory, the boos were unmatched compared to Logan Paul.
Yeah,
And so, I mean, wrap it up on this one, but
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know, man. First off, Dominic needs to go to NXT. Sorry. Can't take him seriously.
me
He's-
neither.
Ray, I know he wanted to do this with his son. That was his special moment. I'm glad they had it.
Dom is not bad in the ring. I think that I don't even think ring work is his problem, to be honest.
It's the
'Cause
problem
he
is
work-
he's under his father's shadow.
He works like his dad did. Ring work is not his problem. Dominic has no charisma.
He has no character because his character
No,
is he's Ray's son.
Yeah, Dominic is very bad on the mic. He's very monotone. You don't take him
I
seriously.
hate the mullet, and I love mullets.
Yeah, he just has he doesn't look like he works out. He just has this look about him. There's just like he's just Ray's son.
Yeah.
Just grown.
So with all that in mind, I mean,
Yeah.
to me, I took into consideration, the match itself,
Yeah.
and also like the lasting effects. Throughout the rest of the night, all I could literally think about was, wow, Logan Paul did the Three Amigos and the Frog Splash. So to
Yeah.
me, I gave this match of the night. You would have never thought it coming in. Even on Twitter, people were like, what the heck? Logan
Yeah.
Paul's actually doing good. So I gave it to them, man. I thought that was phenomenal. And now, speaking of probably match of the night, after that was Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair for the Raw
It was
Women's
fantastic match.
Championship.
I tell you what, Bianca Belair. I mean, I say this about Montez Ford because I feel like it's in his future too, but we'll get to him later. Bianca Belair is a star. She carries herself like a star. My only problem with her comes to her promo work. She needs to get better at that and stop always smiling. Like when she gets aggressive, I loved her as a heel in NXT because that's believable. But she's such a nice person. But her as a babyface is believable. She can play both. I just think she's a better promo as a heel. A little bit more of an attitude, but as far she can work, and I've said this, and people have looked at me sideways. She reminds me of Kurt Angle, someone who is an incredible athlete. Did not come into this as a wrestler. I'm not saying she wasn't a wrestling fan. She may have been. I don't know, but I don't even think Kurt was. But someone who didn't start as a wrestler, but they get in the ring and they just have these incredible matches. When it's not against someone like Eva Marie or Doudrop or Zelina Vega, you put her in there with a Charlotte Flair. You put her in there with a Rhea Ripley. You put her in there with a Becky Lynch. I'll even say put it in there with a Ronda Rousey, Sasha Banks. Bianca Belair knows how to go in the ring, and that's why she's going to be their next star. Because you put her in the ring with any of those four horsewomen, those top stars, she gets one of the best matches. She is an incredible worker. I love watching her do her thing. It show her explosiveness, her speed, her power. She's an incredible athlete. WWE got this one right. I'm so proud because she's a black woman, and this means a lot because a lot of black women have come through the system and they don't get to do much. I mean, even Sasha still kind of takes L's to Charlotte constantly, but Bianca, I think
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, but I think Bianca, that was an incredible match, man. And if I was Ronda and Charlotte because they went on that night, I would not have wanted to follow that because that was an incredible match.
One of two things. I don't know why. First off, they decided to put both championships on the same night. To me, that kind of it made no sense. I think you got to give them the respective nights. And number two, I'm gonna be honest with you. At first, I didn't care for this match. I enjoyed it. It was a little slow for me, but then I had to take in consideration. I was like, okay, watch it again. And I agree. This was actually a phenomenal match. I had to step back. I'll be like, okay, you saw it once. You just came off work. You're tired. Let's watch it again.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that was a great match. And Becky, I swear to God, looked like Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
So that was
I
kinda
think
scary.
I think that was a hair. I think that was a hairstyle she's been wanting to try.
I think so. That's why they did the haircut.
Yeah.
And props to Texas State University for the marching band.
I love that. Again, touching on my
HBCU,
black.
yeah.
Bringing in HBCU to.
The minute I saw that, I was like, no way. Like, imagine to be that school, be Texas State, and be like, oh yeah, we performed at WrestleMania. That's cool.
Great. So congratulations.
My thing, I mean, I agree with you. Bianca Belair is probably one of the better ultimate athletes
In my
the
opinion-
women's division has had in a while.
In my opinion, she is, because she never won the NXT Women's Championship. But you know what? I think that was a blessing in disguise. Because look at Asuka, Rhea Ripley, Kairi Sane,
Asuka
Shayna Baszler.
is she even injured? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Asuka's off TV.
They don't
Shayna
know what to do
Baszler
with
is
her.
stuck
She
in.
might debut tonight. I don't know. But what I'm saying with those women is all of those women won the NXT Women's title
and went nowhere.
and went nowhere. She's the one woman out of them who didn't win it. And look where her career is going.
Well, Asuka went places, and then after
Charlotte
Charlotte Flair,
beat
they
her.
gave her to Carmella and made her lose twice. That is where her downfall was. Making her
Even with Charlotte, it was one of those things where Charlotte didn't even pin her. She tapped her out. And it was like, what?
But you gotta admit, that was probably one of that best match.
Oh, it was a great match.
That was a great
I just
match.
think a lot
it
of
was
people,
so unexpected.
I think a lot of people would have wanted Asuka to go over. And I don't mind them thinking that because it does more for Asuka to beat Charlotte than Charlotte, who's been on the main roster for a few years, beating an NXT person. But besides that, next match, because I think the next match is the debut of its worst kept secret.
Don't spoil it yet.
I'm not gonna spell it yet.
But wrapping it, finish the thought.
Oh no, I was finished with that. It was a great match.
I mean, it was
Great
a great
workers.
match. Becky kind of kicked her in the eye, so now her eye is broken.
Her orbital bones. So
Said
we'll see
it
what
takes-
happens.
They said once after surgery and stuff, and they like do that, it takes 24 hours to like regain strength. So she can probably still cut like promos and stuff. And
She's gonna have to, yeah.
She can be like, I came from hell and back, cut a promo like that. But I mean,
Yeah.
you're not gonna see her in the ring for at least a good 3-4 weeks.
But see, here's the thing: the people who compete at Mania, unless it's the gimmick where they're gonna exchange titles again. If you've noticed, the people who compete at Mania they cut promos. They don't really compete that other night because there's no point in doing that.
Or they do it like yesterday's people aren't going to compete tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
We might see more SmackDown.
Saturdays.
Yeah.
And
Saturday's crew will definitely, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll see some people from Stand and Deliver.
yeah,
But yeah, all in all, great match.
Yeah.
I liked Becky's little entrance with the Marvel theme, but I mean, it was a good match.
but that was a Marvel theme.
It was a Marvel. Do you know how in Marvel they start like with like the letters, and then you see like the
Oh, never mind.
superheroes?
Yeah.
And then it was like big time. That's a Marvel thing.
yeah. Okay.
I
yeah.
beat Gabby to that. She didn't get that. I was like, that's Marvel. How do you not know that? But that was so funny.
That is pretty dope.
But yeah, it was a good match. Apparently, Belair borrowed a move from Colt Cabana. I don't know. I didn't know about that one.
What move did she borrow from that goof, Colt Cabana?
No idea. They said Bleacher. I'm on Bleacher Report. That's the one we trust.
Bianca, and for future reference, please don't borrow moves from a comedy goof.
Speaking of borrowing moves.
Speaking
the
of
big
superheroes.
match. Seth Rollins versus the opponent that Vince McMahon picked himself. Mason,
Yeah.
who was our special person?
Our special person was, if Jose was here, and we're going to see this person tonight, and Jose's going to mark out. I'm telling you. It was the American Nightmare. You got to love when Justin Roberts does that crap.
There you go.
It was Cody Rhodes. And when I tell you, because I've heard people, Dutch Mantel, I've heard other people be like, oh, the crowd maybe won't pop for him. They went
popped.
crazy. People at home went crazy. So, no. Cody Rhodes came back and had, in my opinion, first of all, his entrance was great. Second of all, he had match of the weekend. I don't care what the Briscoes and the Briscoes and FTR had a 5-star match. That's great. I'm glad that they got a chance to have that. Cody had match of the weekend to me because there was such, and I know some people are like, oh, it's moving a little slow.
And that was my understanding. I thought of it too, but then we talked it out.
Yeah.
And I also had to do what I did for Becky is I had to step out because I didn't understand. Like I asked you to help me explain. Like, the whole thing. Now going back and watching it, I'm like, okay, I see the psychological aspect, which I always am a fan of.
Yeah.
I understand technical wrestling. You're not gonna be the high flying, big power boots. You're gonna be the grappling
and stuff like that.
And I have appreciation, but
and what we saw. Listen, I don't care what anybody says. Cody Rhodes belongs in the WWE because
even he knows that himself.
His style is not video game. It's not AEW video game style wrestling. It's not move, no selling, move. It is move, sell, move, sell, move, sell, move, sell. And I think with Cody, him and Seth Rollins together, it was gorgeous. It was a match, pun intended. It was a match made in heaven. One of the best workers of our generation, Seth Rollins, against someone who wants to prove why he's one of the best workers of our generation in Cody Rhodes. And it was a fantastic match. And I honestly think this match will draw more AEW guys over, like
and,
MJF.
we talked to Jose about
Yeah.
this too. Where remember AEW is always like this forbidden bridge, and they bring on Keith Lee or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Now the bridge has, to build a bridge, you got to have an entrance and an exit, and that can also be switched.
Yeah.
So now you have an entrance from AEW to WWE now.
And what I like about this was people think, oh, AEW is the only show that can create moments. Tony Khan's the only one who can create moments. As we saw tonight, as we saw, and we'll see tonight, but as we saw these last couple of nights, the WWE, when they choose to do something right, because everybody's always said, and I used to agree.
Look at me, I'm still thinking about that logo.
Exactly.
We're still thinking about the American Nightmare.
Yeah.
We'll get to Edge, but let me tell you, that entrance, we're still thinking about
That's
that
what I'm
too.
saying. Everybody, and I used to be one of these people that are like, when AEW does stuff right, it's better than WWE. I disagree. When WWE actually chooses to try, what they do is better than anybody in the business.
And like we talked about it before, especially with MJF, WWE doesn't have that PG-14 or like TV-14.
No.
They got to do it all PG. And so if they can make a moment and a memory from PG rather than a PG-14 or a TV-14,
yeah,
that means they're doing something.
Yeah, that means they're doing something. And the most interesting thing about Cody being back, and you mentioned MJF, is with Cody's deal, Vince told him that he will give Cody control over his presentation. And even though writers, they still have to come to you. I mean, that's their job. They have to come
there's
to you
some
with
things that are
stuff.
still going to be censored. Let's just be real.
Yeah. But I mean, Cody is going to be in control of what he says and does. And the thing is, if they made that offer to Cody, will they make that to MJF? Like,
to me, and we talked about this plenty of times, the problem is I believe MJF can do the jump. The problem is he going to enjoy doing the jump without it? That one's going to be hard.
I think he will, because MJF, here's the thing, he's an old school wrestling guy, and he knows from old school guys that going to different promotions is what you have to do. These guys like Wardlow, Adam Page, Jade Cargill, whatever, that think they're just going to be in AEW forever, that's fine. Be there. You're going to be in front of one style of audience. You're going to be in front of a niche audience. MJF knows, if I want to get my name out there, because here's the truth, and I'm not trying to knock AEW fans, but here's the reality. MJF is not going to get more over than he is now if he stays in AEW. If he goes to WWE, improves, he can do something with a script and do something with WWE style, which he can because he's amazing. He will get more over. He will start being in movies.
And this
he
is
will
what
become the star that he wants to be.
And this is what I just realized. I mean, this is probably like, we've all thought of this, but no one's ever said it. Just like you said, it is a one-style group. Let's be real. When you're a TV-14 group, you're aiming for like your middle-aged adults.
Yes, you are.
When they have kids and they want to have a family, what is going to be age-appropriate? WWE.
Yeah.
How do you build the fan base? You appeal to the kids. Guess what? When the kids grow up, they'll be like, okay, maybe they step away a little bit. They'll get back into WWE, and what's gonna happen? They're gonna start a family. Guess what? Cycle begins.
Yes.
You want to go take your kids to WWE? It's PG. Then the cycle with their kids, and that's how you create that momentum. I think AEW hasn't really figured out yet. It's great for like young adults, like 19 and 25.
It's great for guys like us.
Exactly.
But at the same time, we still watch WWE for a reason. And it's one of those things with AEW. They like to appeal to their niche audience.
Yes.
They like to do all the swearing and all the vulgar jokes.
And obviously, when I was there, and we're probably gonna have when we go tonight, we're gonna have families with like kids who are like 6 or 7 years old. They can't go to MJF saying, "I wish your dad, got rid of you," or make it more PG.
Yeah.
So, but like here in WWE, you'll have your
But
little
here's the thing,
moments.
and this is how Sasha got over when she was the boss, just the legit boss in NXT. MJF, I feel like he could make a kid cry. I feel like he could do that.
And they're doing a TV show with all the promotions that we saw, the Evil, where she was like,
she made Izzy cry, and
she
that's
makes people cry,
and that was the thing, and that's how she got so over, was because because think about this. This is why, and I agree with you. You made a great point. This is why that's more impressive. In the PG era of WWE, she still made a kid cry. Think about that. We're not talking attitude era here or ruthless aggression. In the PG era, where you can't make all the jokes that people in AEW make,
swear. All she did was like pull out
she
a
took
hair
a bow,
bun.
and made her cry. That shows how good Bayley got over, and it shows how good Sasha was at being here. All she did was take a bow from her and make fun of her, and she cried. And the crowd booed her for it, and she got mega heat because and
now she's a star.
Exactly. And I think with MJF, if he can prove that he can do WWE stuff, because that's the thing. And I love this guy. He's very inspirational. He's one of my motivations. I love this guy. I'm talking about Killer Cross. I love him. he was not made for WWE style because he has to be one of those guys, and I love him, and I think he could have done well, but he is also one of those guys. He has to do more of his own thing.
You know what I just realized too?
What?
I'll let you finish your thought.
Yeah.
And it's also gonna be one of these like
Yeah.
eye openers. Go for it.
With Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, Kevin Kassar, because that's his real name. He is one of those guys. He has to do his own thing. If you hand him a script, nobody cares. If you let him do what they're going to be doing with CYN, even though that was probably going to flop, that's more of his thing. But anyway, that's just my little rant about that. What's your big thing?
You know how we always, when we're like fed up with WWE, we're always like, "Damn, sorry, I don't know if that's a swear on there." Are you sure? Okay, I don't know if that's one of them.
Yeah.
We're like, dang, I really wish that Attitude Era was back. AEW is the Attitude Era that they're trying to make WWE. However, we look at that now, and you know how like we're always like The Office too, where we're like, dang, we wish The Office was rebooted, and they're like, we can't reboot The Office. Ryan, go back to your game over there. No, I'm playing. I was playing. But yeah, how people are always like, I wish The Office was rebooted, and even like Steve Carell's like, we can't reboot it. It doesn't work anymore. I think this is the same thing where we're trying to figure. We're now figuring out for some people, Attitude Era still works. We still enjoy a little bit of AEW. However, I guess that time has just moved on where we're just out of that era.
Here's the reality. I'm glad you brought that up. And we're probably going to talk about this.
Because it makes sense,
We're
right?
probably going to talk about this on the car right
100%,
there, too.
yeah.
But here's the thing. What do you say real quick? Bumping wrestling themes on the way there, or we just going to stick to your playlist? I mean, the show car.
It's going to be half and half.
Half and half.
It's got to be half and half.
Half and half. I'm down. But anyway, here's the reality. The reason why the Attitude Era doesn't work now, especially with AEW, let's do that, is because we don't live in the 1990s anymore.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of jokes in the Attitude Era that you could make that AEW tries to make now, and that
also in the 90s we could make. There was more jokes that we could say. Some of
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not gonna say it on here, but there's a lot of things they could have made fun of, which The Office and like some of these shows did. That nowadays you can't say that, you're automatically gonna get like.
But
canceled.
it hits that niche audience. And here's the thing with AEW. They're not even where close to the Attitude Era because they don't have Attitude Era level stars besides Punk and Danielson. And then you have your upcoming stars like MJF.
And you're moving that, but you're putting them together though.
Yeah.
The problem is you can't put two superstars like that, or sometimes
exactly.
You have divides.
As far as guys who would have worked in the Attitude Era, Danielson, Punk, MJF. Punk especially, MJF.
Cody Rhodes, I agree. Cody Rhodes would too.
But those
Seth Rollins with the Authority. 100%.
Yeah, but those are characters and those are guys that alone in AEW at least. But okay, besides those guys, there's nobody Attitude Era level in that company. And as much as people, and I love Daniel, but as much as people think, oh, Darby Allin is not Attitude Era level.
He's a PG. I'm sorry.
He is.
He's basically an Undertaker.
Dude,
if we're really gonna put it like that.
The reality of it is his character has already been recreated with Cora Jade in NXT 2.0. She does the same stuff that he does. The skateboard and everything, and she's over with the crowd just like he is. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's a lot of things where there's parallels, and then there's a lot of things where it's just like, yeah. But anyway,
bringing it all back, the jump from AEW to WWE,
smart move, and I think
it works because
and he talked
Cody
about it.
Rhodes,
Yeah.
Yes, he talked about it. He says, like we said, he's not into these niche. He wants to tell more of a story. And he said
he
he's
felt
a
like
sport
he
entertainer.
felt like it was time to come back. And he felt like it was time to come back. But what I loved about what he did...
Go ahead, you're good.
Yeah, what I loved about what he did when he did his press conference, and I didn't finish it. I'm going to finish it later. He talked about how he's like, I hope people don't expect me to do shoot interviews about the WWE. I mean, about AEW, whatever. And I liked that because it's one of those things where he was speaking off the... And I even saw a YouTube comment... In that media scrum, he is speaking off the cuff about his experience and stuff like that. And it's one of those things where it's like you can see that he does have control over his character. And I think one of the things about Cody Rhodes that made that special, because every time someone goes to AEW, they have a WWE slight that they always have to throw out, and it gets old. With AEW, I mean, with WWE, they don't do that because, especially with Cody,
they don't need to.
No, they don't.
It's like AEW,
and that hurts AEW's fans' feelings. It's like, oh, they're saying that we're desperate. Well, you kind of are because that's a cheap pop for that audience. Again, that niche audience is cheap pop. Oh well, I'm in professional wrestling, not whatever they do on the other channel, oh, everybody says stuff like that. And, but I'm happy for Cody. He got to meet Hunter, which we all know Triple H is his favorite wrestler. He got to talk to him, and that meant a lot to him. And so, yeah. Okay, and speaking of Triple H, this next match involves someone. I mean, as a matter of fact, this next match involves two people that worked with Triple H. One did his entrance at WrestleMania 30, and then another was in a tag match against him.
And also with coming back, we have Charlotte Flair versus the returning Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
A lot of people hate that match.
It was an interesting match just because, there is a little bit of ring rust with Ronda Rousey. That's expected. So, honestly, not that terrible. There was a wardrobe malfunction, which made me mad because Peacock TV blacked out my TV for longer than it needed to be. So, I missed a good 2 minutes of my match. And so I was upset. But, I mean, overall, it wasn't a bad match. I know.
I didn't think it was when I watched it. I enjoyed it. And people are like, "Oh, Charlotte Flair wins again." Guys, now I will agree.
Here's the thing: they both got what they wanted. Ronda technically did tap out Charlotte Flair. The ref was knocked out, so you still have the angle of
Ronda's win at WrestleMania Backlash. Ronda will win the title.
Now, here's the thing, though. A lot of people said this was planned. The 3 count, the ref didn't. To me, I don't think this was intentional. I think it was a mistake, and somebody in the earpiece. Because I'm guessing, the ref has an earpiece.
Yeah, the ref has an earpiece.
Everybody alongside has an earpiece. I guarantee you, they said, check leg. 1, 2. He didn't check for whatever reason. The leg was on there before 2.
Mm-hmm.
He went 3. And then I literally was like, oh my God, he rang 3, but the leg was there. And we've seen it before where WWE does that, where they'll still go 3 and the ref doesn't see and he says, ring the bell. This time, he says, no, don't ring bell. And literally, in the whole stadium was like, what just happened? Did Ronda really just win? And so to me, I didn't know if that was a botch or if that was. A lot of people says that was planned. To me, I thought it was a botch. I don't know. What did you think?
I think it was a botch and the reason why I think it was a botch is because Ronda Rousey already has her out for this angle, which is she did tap out Charlotte Flair. The ref was just knocked out.
Exactly.
We don't need she won twice and that's the angle because that doesn't make sense.
Because she technically didn't win, but the ref did count 3, but the leg was there for 2.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, she technically won twice because of the 3 count." Well, no.
This isn't a best 2 out of 3 match.
Charles Robinson made a mistake. He didn't look, and he was 1, 2, 3 because he was just looking at the shoulders, and he didn't look up to see her leg. I think it was. It was a simple botch.
And I think to cover up, I guarantee you, Vince McMahon or whatever producer or executive producer is back there definitely said, "Don't ring the bell." He's gonna explain it. Don't ring the bell. Because if they did ring the bell, we've seen it before where there have been mistakes. And they actually ring the bell, and WWE is scrambling now because now they have to give this title. I forgot. I swear to God, it's happened before. We know that.
Yes, it has.
It's happened before where it was an accidental win.
Yeah,
and then they have to give the title, and they have to scrap whatever plan they have.
Well, because the problem was, unlike in this case, because I remember one instance, the guy was in the center of the ring, and it was 1, 2, 3, and then he kicked out, and it was like everybody was like, he won, and you can't dispute that then, and you had to go ahead and ring it because it's over.
There's some things that you can get away with. I know, with when it was was it Randy Orton and Batista? No, John Cena and Batista and that Royal Rumble where it's still debated today, and there's some and Kofi, you can debate some things.
It's not as much debated as it is. Batista was supposed to win because he was supposed to get the main event against Hunter. Cena was going to go for the WWE title anyway, but they both fell. They were both up-and-coming stars, but Batista was going to go over and, whatever. The disputed decision would be the 96 or 97, 97.
Yeah.
Or 98, no, it was 98. The 98 Royal Rumble where The Rock won, but technically the Big Show did because Rock's feet hit first, but Big Show's the one who fell all the way over. Because that's something on The Rock's resume they don't think a lot of people remembers, that he is a Royal Rumble winner. It's just that Royal Rumble was kind of forgettable. Well, actually, it wasn't, because it was the Royal Rumble where Mick Foley entered 3 times, which was hilarious.
3 Shades of Foley.
3 Shades of Foley. But no, people hate that match. But there was a rumor going around that the reason Ronda lost because she walked out of the Hall of Fame.
Did she?
Well, here's what happened.
I was there and I didn't even see her at the Hall of Fame.
Here's what happened. So apparently, because Austin, Austin was the main event with Owens, that segment, and
That's coming up next.
yeah, that segment was the main event, and apparently people were telling the story like when Ronda, because up until that point, apparently Ronda had been thinking, oh, we're the main event, because I won the Royal Rumble, we're the main event, and then she found out like, no, Austin's coming back, you're not the main event. And according to Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer, because Brian Alvarez works with the Wrestling Observer, so it's from that camp, Meltzer's camp, who's been reporting a lot of false stuff, and he's been getting flack for it. Brian Alvarez reported, yeah, she found out she wasn't the main event at the Hall of Fame and then stormed out. And then I got hot because I was like, that's mad disrespectful. But then she immediately went on Twitter, was like, there are rumors that said I walked out of the Hall of Fame because I was upset. She was like, it was an honor to perform under Steve Austin in Texas. And the reason I left is because I have a six-month-old child that I had to take care of.
I was about to say, I understand. You're still a mother. You got to understand.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that WWE knows, because I'm pretty sure Ronda has told them this, I have a 6-month-old that is my pride and my joy, and I will be doing
because you have
things.
the Bella twins,
yes.
and they have babies.
Yeah,
and,
I don't know what. So I don't know why she had to lose. But I do know that Ronda will be beating Charlotte at some point. It's not happening right now.
For the main events that I have predicted
oh my
for
God.
2 months.
If only we had that classic sound on tape where we could go back to Jose's just freak out.
It was Kevin Owens
KO
and the KO show with special guests. UNT Zone.
It was Stone Cold Steve Austin. I showed up there. And I gave Kevin Owens a stunner just like I said I would, because that piece of trash ran his mouth about me, and I had to show him Austin 316 is still the main attraction. Stuff like that. Yeah, Austin showed up. And let me explain to people here, especially Ryan, because he doesn't know what it means. There are 3 words to describe Stone Cold Steve Austin. Over like God. Right? This guy, I heard Jim Cornette say this, and he's right. Austin could go out there and fart for 20 minutes, and it would be over. Because Austin is a pop culture icon. He's one of the greatest to ever do this.
Let's be honest. When you think WWE, you think of what? You think of Stone Cold
Steve Austin. You think of Austin. You think of Rock.
McMahon.
You think of Rock. You think of Austin. You think of Taker. Hogan. Unfortunately, racist. But anyway, Cena. Those 5 guys. And now, you'll be thinking about Roman, but those 5 guys. Austin, Rock, Taker, Hogan, Cena, when those 5 guys just symbolize what WWE's always wanted to be, larger than life figures. And
let's be real, whenever that glass shatters, it's
over.
That
glass, when they first started this feud and they were just playing his music to set it up, and after Kevin Owens called him out and that glass said, psh, that crowd was like, oh my God, because they thought he was going to be there at that moment. And it was like, no, they're going to have to build it up. The build-up was bad, but the payoff was great. Austin came out there in the classic jorts, his shirt and the knee pads. Wasn't exactly
with the knee braces too.
The knee braces. It wasn't his old black boots, but it was more like camping boots.
But you know what? For a guy like that,
but it was Austin.
I think he's like 56 or something
57.
like that. Yeah,
we're both December babies.
I would guess it's a no holds barred. They went out the ring.
Yeah.
It was a great match. And I think Kevin Owens probably had the time of his life because that's his childhood hero, man. He's met him.
Well, no, his childhood hero is Owen Hart. That's
my fault. But
that's why his name is Kevin Owens, because of that namesake is paying tribute. But Austin is one of his favorites, no doubt. I mean, that's why he got permission to use the stunner. I still have never liked KO using it, but that's besides the point.
But it was cool to see a stunner.
Oh my God,
it was a stunner versus stunner. Going into the crowd, seeing
crowd,
Austin take some hits, especially from not the concrete.
Yeah, that was Austin when he took that stunner, and the crowd thought Owens was going to go over. They gasped. They were like, no, they better not beat him with the. And of course, Austin was not going to lose.
You know what I thought that was gonna happen, because I remember you kept telling me where Austin doesn't want to be put over.
The reason I said that, okay, and I guess I was thinking about this to where it was just going to be a straight match. If they were going to go old black trunks, black boots, Stone Cold, I truly believe he would have wanted Owens to go over because he would have been like, I'm not going to be wrestling. Here's why I said that. Because Austin would have been like, I'm not wrestling regularly. This guy's going to be on their program. And if he gets beat by someone who's 57 in a regular straight up match, they're going to lose faith in him, even though the 57-year-old is me. You know what I mean? If he beats me in Dallas where I got my start, he's going to get heel heat. They're going to boo him every time they see him, and WWE would have created a new top heel.
Yeah.
That outweighs, we're going to have Austin go over because it's Austin. You know what I mean? But when it's a no-holds-barred match and people want to see Austin go over, you have to give that to them. Despite the internet marks being like, I'll never take Kevin Owens seriously because he just lost to a 57-year-old. It's stone cold. Again, to quote
We'll
Cornette,
talk about Pat McAfee later, then, if you want to go that route.
yeah, but to quote Cornette again, Austin could go out there and fart for 20 minutes and it would get over. So it doesn't matter. But like I said, over like God. It's ridiculous. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
And I mean, it was just good, man. It was I think probably the best way to end.
Oh, with the
Greatest way to end.
There's no if they would have ended the show with anything, even Cody, if they would have ended that with nothing but with not Austin, night one wouldn't have been as seen as highly as it was.
And so again, you said a 7 for night one, right? Or did you say
7.5 because
would you say for night
no,
one?
no,
You
no,
said in
overall.
general. Okay, so night one, what would you say? I gave it about an 8.
8.5.
I'd give it about an
It was a very because it defied people's expectations. People were like, "Oh, WrestleMania is gonna suck." There was some idiot who was like, "This was terrible." Ring of Honor was shut up.
Then why'd you pay tickets for this?
Ring of Honor.
Why you buying this?
Ring of Honor was not.
One thing
better
we
than
did forget to
WrestleMania.
mention before we move on to night 2 was at the end of the first ever match that was there, the Shinsuke. No, that's a lie. That's up in this one. My fault.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't
Today, or yesterday, it was Triple H opened the show, night 2.
I loved that.
That was honestly a lot better to start off the night. To have just to hear the game, the theme song, to hear that. Time to play the game. I was like, yo, that's so good.
You gotta love Lemmy, man. We're definitely playing that in the car.
Oh, 100%.
But no, I love Triple H
Great
opening
way
the
to
show.
open it. I mean, it sucks that he had to retire.
I
after
low-key
that.
wish they would have given him, even though he would have been in a suit, I wish they would have given him the king entrance, just like him in a throne, just something. But he walked out.
Well, they did that for somebody later
I
in the
know,
match.
they did that for somebody later.
Now, to open this one, I thought this is a lot better. I thought this was probably one of the best matches of the night. It was the Raw Tag Team Championship.
That match was, I'm sorry, but that match surprised me because I was like, this is one of these multi-man.
That's what I thought.
It was like one of these
terrible.
multi-man tag matches we've seen before. It was hard-hitting.
I
It was
thought it was
entertaining.
going to be terrible, and I agree. It was
was
amazing.
It was fantastic. I loved it.
And then I thought I was expecting this. I was like, okay, Randy Orton's going to hit the RKO. You're
Riddle-
telling me
Riddle
top
popped up.
pops up, grabs
Montez.
him, and then I was like,
Look,
wow.
that was perfect because Riddle got Orton's blessing to do the RKO, and he's been doing it pretty well. And then Tez, I love Montez Ford, personally and professionally, sold it like $1 million. It was fantastic.
I thought it was absolutely.
That will go down as one of the best RKOs of all time, just because that the crowd reaction after that, you couldn't shut them up. It was fantastic. And then
the Riddle had it was
somebody.
It was that hot tag.
Yeah,
and then
who
everybody exploded. Exploded for Randy. That hot tag. What's up?
Listen, I'm at the end of the day, and I know you said he's your guy, and every time I think this, I'm like, yeah, Russo always said that was his guy. Randy Orton has never been more over than he is
Dude,
now.
I love, you know what's crazy?
He's over, and he's
I
great.
loved Orton. I like the old Orton, too.
Me too, yeah.
Like, when he was...
Orton was just
especially,
good.
one of my favorite matches, I know we talked about it, was the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. It was
2006, Angle, Mysterio, and
Orton. And they did the double suit. Yo.
I
love old Orton.
Me too. One of my favorite feuds that he was in was when he was against the Undertaker. Those 3 matches.
Yes, and then the iconic
Mania,
little,
SummerSlam, and the Hell in a Cell match that he had with Undertaker was fantastic. I love those matches.
Randy Orton cannot have a bad feud, and if he does, he makes it work.
He makes it work. Yeah,
that's just how he's the bottom line.
Like Riddle wasn't getting over at first because his stuff was cringy, and now with Randy, because Randy's fully
and I was
embraced
the same
this.
way. I didn't understand this. I was like, please break them up. Now I love it.
Oh yeah,
I am now.
they are the
for
most
it.
over tag team that they have right
Like
now.
literally, if I see a shirt of Randy Orton and Riddle, I'm buying it today.
Yeah.
Like I don't even care. I'm gonna buy
It's
it.
too.
But
They're too over.
at the end of this, I did like this move. I think
Yeah.
this one was more for the Street Profits. They wanted to acknowledge, their first WrestleMania. They had their little moment. They brought up Gable Steveson, which
Yeah.
we are probably gonna see tonight.
Oh, without a
if
doubt.
y'all don't know, 2-time back-to-back NCAA Division I men's wrestling champion with
Gold-
a bunch of gold
Olympic
medalists.
gold medalist.
Yes.
So basically, he has
he went
Brock
to-
Lesnar and Kurt Angle's accomplishments.
He went up there to celebrate, and Chad Gable, another Gable,
Sheesh. God.
slapped the cup out of him, and we had a little feud of now Gable and Gable, both
Yeah.
Olympic wrestlers. This is gonna be a good match, and I bet you after this we might see Kurt Angle come back at SummerSlam to maybe face this guy.
I doubt it. I don't think Angle's coming back.
No, he's back. He's behind the scenes though.
Really?
I think he's literally. I think he's in creative right now.
I did not know that.
I think they re-signed him for creative.
But no, I no. What's gonna happen is these matches that Brock Lesnar has at these pay-per-views will be against Gable, because they're gonna want
They want somebody who's also a wrestling background, and it makes sense.
Well, also that is because they've said it themselves. This guy is going to be the new Brock, so they're gonna want to kick the old Brock out by having the new Brock beat
What's
him.
gonna be good is you give Brock a title, make Gable beat him for it.
I think he's gonna beat Roman for one of them if there's two, but he'll beat Roman.
Imagine that if Gable takes Gable Steveson takes a title from Roman that Brock couldn't do,
yeah,
and then have them feud.
but if they do it too soon,
It could mess it up. It'll bury the Brock Lesnar so bad.
if they do it too soon, it's not that for me. If they give Gable this belt too soon, the fans will boo him because they'll be like, it's another one of Vince's projects he's gonna shove down our throats. If they give him, because it's the same thing they did with Jason Jordan.
Yeah. Oh my God.
If they put him in a main
Oh
event
my
spot
gosh.
too soon, because here's the thing.
We don't even speak about that dude.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what happened when he did the Gable belly-to-belly suplex and he was holding him up. The crowd wasn't really saying, like, they were murmuring. I know Jose was going nuts.
And like we've always heard, you rather have the worst reaction you can get is no reaction.
Yeah.
And that is true because you either want someone to cheer you or
And
boo
I don't
you.
think he got any.
Yeah.
He suplexed Gable, no one cared.
Nobody
They were
cared.
like, okay.
But
Which is why I think having him debut after RK Bro is like, I mean, the crowd was hot after they wanted to see those guys, and then they weren't even in the ring anymore.
I thought there was gonna be a turn. I literally thought Randy Orton was gonna turn or somebody was gonna fight. Oh, I'm sorry.
If
I thought somebody was gonna fight somebody.
The turn I wanted, I want Ford to turn on Dawkins. I want Montez Ford to turn.
Can you really see them as individual
Yes.
wrestlers though?
Yes, Montez Ford. Dawkins will end up being released if he's on his own. But Montez
That's
Ford,
what I'm saying.
Montez Ford has charisma. He's a good wrestler. He needs to work a little bit, but
I'm gonna be honest with you. They're not gonna do that.
No,
because they are the New Day.
they are, and
They
they're
are
not
the
going to
new
split
New
them
Day.
up. But Ford has had good matches with Roman. He's had good matches, I think, with AJ Styles.
And I mean, I could see Dawkins versus Big E too.
I don't want to see that match
I don't
because Big E would go over, and that'd be too simple.
Speaking of big boys, we got Bobby Lashley and Omos.
This match was horrible. It should have been on the pre-show.
Bottom line, two big men. Can this guy carry him? In the end, he does, and he wins. Bottom line. That's all I gotta say. That's all we gotta
skip
say.
over that. I
Milk
don't
dud,
care.
skipped.
Nope.
All right. I want to skip this match too, but after this, it was the Anything Goes match.
Boo!
Johnny
Can you
Knoxville.
please skip that. I don't want to talk
Okay.
about it.
We're not gonna talk about it mostly.
Listen.
First off, it was like I kept saying this was one of the matches where I didn't want to watch, but I had my hands like you cover your
Yeah.
eyes, but you had the holes, because it was I would say interesting. Just how to me, I was like, please end this match.
Yes.
I don't understand it.
It went
But-
on too long.
But for the people, they loved it.
they went
I
crazy.
don't understand burying Sami Zayn with a mousetrap table and
I
I
don't
that
think
didn't even work.
the
and,
good thing about Sammy and his character, he's not buried because we want to see this weasel get beat up. So,
yeah.
but no, that match wasn't wrestling. It was ridiculous. Johnny Knoxville took a bump through a table and kicked out. So that means any wrestler on the main roster should be able to do that next. That match was terrible. I can't wait to hear Cornette just destroy that match. It was
The one iconic thing from that match
was awful.
was Pat McAfee's line, and I quote, "His cheeks were just starting to get over."
Wow.
That was on the broadcast. And there was another one where he was like, his cheeks are clapping verbatim.
Yeah, you gotta love Pat McAfee. And speaking of which, wasn't his match after that?
No.
Oh,
after
it
that
was
match,
it was Edge
the-
and AJ.
No, it was the
What
Fatal
was it?
4.
See, next. God, I don't care.
Fatal 4, good match. Let's wrap it up quick. Good match. It was a decent match. for what it
Decent,
was.
whatever. Sasha and Naomi won
Sasha,
as they should have.
beautiful Lamborghini. I wish I had it. Beautiful
Yeah.
finish. Sasha snaps her streak.
Sasha's
of
a
now.
beautiful woman. You know,
Yes,
and-
she is.
and-
She's not 1-6, or she's not 0-7. She's 1-6. Bottom line. Black Beauties. There you go, Mason. Woo woo. Got him winning.
yeah,
And that's all we have for that one.
pretty much.
Oh, actually, that's Cat, because Corey Graves, his reaction for Carmella, iconic. Bro, the face of pure, like, he played his part so well. He did.
I wanted him to get stunned this weekend. I wanted Corey Graves to get stunned.
And it was Byron.
It was
oh, wait, we forgot to say
well,
that.
no,
yeah.
I mean,
Byron Saxton got it.
Well, because Byron can sell it.
Oh, anybody.
And-
it actually no, it's Cap. That's Cap. It doesn't take anybody. You have to be.
You have to be of a certain age, which we'll get to. But
Now,
yeah,
a match that I thought had a lot
we
of potential.
we all thought this would have been match of the
AJ
weekend.
Styles versus Edge.
But here's the thing: they had a great match. The match was great.
they had a good
But
match.
I think what happened, and this is the
two
God's
things
honest
happened.
truth.
Two things happened. Go for it.
You pointed this out, and you were right. People didn't really know who to like. Even though Edge is a heel, and people have been booing him, that entrance got him back over. And it was like people
That
don't.
entrance was match.
that
That
entrance
was
and
the
his-
entrance of the,
his
the
new-
whole
new-
Met WrestleMania,
His new entrance and that music.
and we'll see it tonight. Maybe.
Yeah,
and we'll see it.
we will, because they're gonna explain this group. It got Edge back over, and it was one of those things where they didn't know who to cheer for, but they weren't doing "Let's go AJ, let's go Edge." The crowd, I'm telling you, they sat on their hands during this match.
I think
they
it's
popped
also
a
a little
little
bit of
bit.
fatigue too.
Yeah, they
because
were-
if you just came from a Johnny Knoxville, and it is an entertaining match for people who are there.
That RK Bro and Knoxville match exhausted them
And-
to the
and-
point where they didn't care about anything unless it was McAfee in theory and Roman.
I think it's a little bit of fatigue. Also, AJ did dislocate his shoulder
Again.
and you could, and it's not one of these fake ones. You can clearly
You
see
saw.
the arm come out. You saw the green, purple, and
Yeah.
the black coloring right on like where. And I've dislocated my shoulder and I have surgery, so I know
Yeah.
what it's like and what it
Yeah.
looks like.
He
and
popped
feels.
it back in, but he's gonna need surgery again.
Yeah, so it was something. I mean, it was a good build up. I thought, that you're good.
No, keep going.
I thought that it had potential. The Damian Priest thing kind of.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm for it, but
Because
at the
there have
same
been
time,
rumors
I
that-
don't like how it kind of got displayed. I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
understand
mean,
it.
okay, so AJ's going for the non-front but this
And
is
he
the-
just pops out of nowhere.
this-
At least like do the traditional boring
Yeah,
crap where you throw the music on.
Yeah, I mean, it's the WWE, so a lot of the stuff doesn't make sense. The guy shows up, and AJ just apparently that was enough to distract AJ. Him standing there, like this is a grown man in a fight, but another grown man standing there. And then there have been rumors that Edge is there to create the new Brood, and I am here for it. And we talked about this earlier. Please put Tommaso Ciampa in it. Please, WWE, if you can hear me, you're gonna hear the sound of my voice tonight. Please put Tommaso Ciampa in it.
That's
Please
good.
put him in.
And now for a match nobody, and I mean nobody, cared for. So, you know how much people didn't care for this match? They had to cut it from night one. Because it's supposed to
They
be on
should have
night.
cut it in general, but they just
It
promised.
was the New Day versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Bottom line, there's a tribute to Big E with the uniforms, and
They could have given him a tribute with a win. They got beat anyway.
And for whatever reason, they decided to make Butch attack both of them right as the bell rang. It made no sense.
Boo.
Yeah, that made no sense.
It was a trash
it was
match.
2 minutes long. And my thing is this. You really cut the match from night one and then at the same time, like, didn't give them anything. You
Trash
made-
match.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Trash match.
Now, for people who needed a revive, this is your revive.
McAfee.
Pat McAfee versus
McAfee. Austin Theory.
This? Wow. What do you got? What do you got?
McAfee was trained by Rip Rogers, who's a WWE Hall of Famer. So McAfee's always wanted to be a wrestler.
Yes.
He's got charisma. He's got swag. That song,
Seven Nations Army?
Yeah. That has been out for a while. McAfee comes out to it, gets it over immediately.
Dude, I think I don't even know if I should say this.
What?
This is maybe too controversial. I think he had a bigger pop than Stone Cold.
No. Yeah.
I think so. You listen to that crowd?
No, the crowd was popping.
I
give
think
him
so.
I
think so.
Well, okay, I give him third biggest because the Undertaker also showed up. So McAfee.
that don't count. That's
no,
not
I
all
mean,
of it.
hey, he was on the show and he got a pop. That's what I'm saying.
Top 3 pops, Stone Cold. I'm gonna throw Pat
in
McAfee
there,
and
yeah.
I'm gonna throw Triple H, and then I'm
Triple
gonna throw
H.
Undertaker.
Undertaker, yeah. Okay,
That's what I'm gonna throw.
I can respect that list. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But
But
honestly,
anyway,
you could switch McAfee and Stone Cold
McAfee got over because McAfee knows how to be a better wrestler than a lot of the wrestlers in the business
and you
these
could
days.
tell that he cared. Like this dude, he's living out his dream.
He is incredible. I love listening to him on commentary. I love watching him in the ring, doing that backflip off the rope and then jumping
The
up.
senton scared the hell out of me. Oh my god!
Keep in mind, these are the same moves he did in the match with Adam Cole, but there was a crowd to see this now, and they popped. They went crazy. He popped back up on that top rope, hit that superplex.
Dude, he jumped from that was insane. I literally
and then, like I said, he's done that before, but he's over. And it's one of those things where the WWE knew what they were doing when they hired him. If he wanted to be a full-time wrestler, he would be.
No, he needs work still if he's gonna do full time.
Yeah, but which he's not. He's not there to be full-time. But I'm telling you right now, if he was a full-time wrestler, I would have made Pat McAfee my world champion. He's got charisma.
Why wouldn't you? And
he's got charisma. He can talk. He can work. Obviously,
and
he
not
can get
him
over.
paying homage to Booker T and The Rock, where he throws on the headset while beating this dude. I thought that was hilarious.
You know, he's a commentator now, so he's allowed to do, and the millions, he's allowed to kind of steal people's stuff a little bit, but he can do his own. And they let Pat McAfee curse a lot. Like, he was saying D-bag and all this stuff. He was saying all this stuff. They let him curse because, again, it's like with Cody Rhodes, his deal is probably like, he gets to present himself how he wants to.
Well, when he's in the ring, not when he's
no, on commentary he cursed and said stuff too. Even when he called Austin Theory, like when he did that promo face to face and he had to apologize, he called him a D-bag. So no, he's allowed to really say whatever and do what. I guarantee you that dancing on the table, that has been him just doing that out of necessity. That is not them telling him.
I bet you he did that one time,
and they've told him to keep doing it. And
they said yeah, and they're like, you know what, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, why would you not?
Because that goes over every single time. You look at Rick Boogs. You watch Shinsuke
you look
come
at Pat
out,
McAfee.
and you look right at McAfee.
Yeah.
And then you keep going back from Shinsuke to McAfee.
Yeah,
you
but
always
besides McAfee, Theory's a prodigy. He was over in this match.
He's a good wrestler.
He was getting booed, and, you know, he's fantastic. He's a prodigy.
And not Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon actually came down and introduced him, and he sat there at the ringside. That was cool.
That was great. And, you know, McAfee went over.
No chance.
Yeah.
Come on. Hey, no chance in hell.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? That was...
I think... And then people had a problem a little bit until they saw the ending part where Vince wrestled McAfee, like the rumored match that Vince was going to wrestle McAfee.
I didn't even know that was about to happen.
And then,
but
you know,
that was, you know what?
People had
I was for it.
People had problem with Vince going over, but I mean, I don't, because two reasons. One, the second one I'm going to talk about later, but one, Vince, the evil Mr. McMahon character, that is something he would do, which is cheat to put himself over Pat McAfee. And it doesn't really hurt McAfee because he's not a full-time wrestler. So it doesn't really matter. And plus, the second one, Austin came out again to get McMahon and Theory and McAfee. And then people forgot all about Vince going over Pat because they were like, Austin came out. And it was like, Austin.
Here's the thing, too.
Stunned Theory. Theory, in my opinion, best sell of a stunner I've ever seen. This guy jumped up, took a back bump, and then flipped forward to his face. It was great. McMahon. That's going to be a gift. So Stone Cold kicks McMahon in the gut. You know, they drink a few beers, whatever. He kicks McMahon in the gut. And McMahon, because he's older, his equilibrium is nothing now. So and he falls over. And then Austin, like,
I agree. I think he also slipped on the beer.
Yeah, he did. And
I think so.
And then he hits him with a start. Linda's was still worse because Linda didn't even put her head in there. Austin just dropped and Linda just fell after the kick. And then McAfee had another great stunner cell.
Yeah.
Kick to the gut. Boom. Starts spewing the beer and does the Kurt Angle style sell of a stunner where he stands straight up and falls back down.
You know
Kind of
what?
like when Montez Ford did
Yeah.
on when he got stunned and he.
I
So-
thought, it was good. I don't mind Vince going over. I think that kind of also that adds a little bit of storyline where Austin
Yeah,
Theory
exactly.
still has a lot to learn, and
Yeah.
Vince is gonna be like, look what I did what you couldn't.
But also, I mean, Austin came out to punish Vince after that. So
And that
you
was
know,
fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
That was fun to
it's
see.
It's fun again. So, the main event, ladies and gentlemen, my name is. Oh, it's not Paul Heyman, but my name is Paul Heyman, and I'm here to introduce to you the reigning, defending, undisputed head of the table, tribal chief, universal champion, Roman Reigns, and then reigning, Brock Lesnar introduced himself, whatever.
That was hilarious.
Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, the most stupendous, the biggest WrestleMania match ever, and I hate that Mike Rome actually put that in his announcement.
Yeah, for no reason.
That was unnecessary.
Here's the thing. I bet you it was going to be for one thing. Apparently, I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but they said Roman straight up dislocated his shoulder.
Yeah, he did.
And that's why the match ended 10 minutes early, because
Yes.
whenever the match ended, usually it was like 10:50, not 11. So even I was like, okay, is this?
Because that's what.
And then I thought The Rock was gonna come out
Because
or
there
something
was
like
so
that.
much crowd
exactly.
milk, but then it just turns out no, it just ended early.
And I can understand if it's by injury. I understand you have to do what you have to do
No,
because
you
you're
do.
injured. And so
Fans are still gonna crap on the match.
they're
but
gonna crap on it, but at the same time, you have to take
if
in consideration.
it had to end
You're
early.
not gonna have Roman lose 2 belts and his arm is like straight up. He had to pop it back in because what if it pops out again and the ref has to throw up the X?
Yeah.
Then you have an even worse match. So at least
Some people think it was a work still though.
I see. That's what I'm still trying to figure out. I think it might have been a work.
So what happened was you can see in his face he's grimacing. In the ring, he raised both belts. And he's like,
I saw that.
"Argh."
Yeah.
But then on the stage, he raised them both up. And I think on the last one, on the stage he forced them up because he was like, "No, I'm not giving this up."
I think what he did is he had to pop.
No,
he
he
had to
did, 'cause in
he
the-
popped it in, and I think he had to like double check.
Double
That's
check.
why he did the title
Yeah,
like this. And then I think whenever he did like that, he kind of jolted it up. And
Yeah.
then he kind of like rested it and then
Yeah.
came back up.
And
But
then he said, and then but the outcome we all expected. Roman went over. Roman Reigns is, I'm gonna say this guy is, in my opinion, the best wrestler in the world right now. Because
and I'll agree. And you know what? I'm gonna say he's gonna get there one day where he's gonna be. Well, you guys are gonna have a Mount Rushmore block. And
Yes.
you're gonna have to.
you're
throw
gonna
Roman.
put Roman
And
on
you
it.
might even throw Roman at the top. He's gonna get there.
Yeah, well, because here's the thing. He will be like his cousin, Roman Reigns, after this, because he will be doing movies. He will be doing.
You know the sad part is I really can't see him do movies.
Oh, he will.
Unless he is the heel that he is, I do not see him doing.
Think about it like this. Look at The Rock. Remember how we always thought he's black and Samoan. He's got the tattoo. Nobody is going to ever look like that again.
What is the Rock's specialty? Jungle movies.
Yeah.
What are you gonna throw Roman in?
Rock is an action star.
No,
but-
not it, but he's also in a lot of jungle movies.
Yeah. My point is that with The Rock, we all thought in the wrestling business,
Even John Cena too.
we never thought. Well, Cena's more of a comedy guy.
Yeah.
'Cause Cena-
We'll take Batista then.
Cena's naturally funny. Batista's the best actor out of both of them because Batista can actually act. And I'm not knocking The Rock. He can act too, and so can Cena. But Batista is like, he doesn't do typical things. He does different stuff.
He does more like your.
He has
he's
more range.
action. I think The Rock is more like comedy action adventure. My fault.
Action adventure.
Cena will do comedy / action
Action
adventure.
movies,
Yes.
But Cena's also done like that movie
Yeah.
Blockers. He does comedy
Stupid
films.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so with Roman Reigns, like I was saying, when we saw The Rock in the wrestling business, we were all like, no one's ever gonna look like that again. No one's ever gonna whatever. No one can be black and Samoan and have that level of charisma, look like that. And then here comes tribal tattoo, 6'3", 265. He's not black and Samoan, he's white and Samoan. But still, this is the second coming of The Rock. Because you have this guy who has this unique look, because not a lot of people are out here looking like Roman Reigns. I'm a straight guy, and even I'll admit that. Just like not a lot of people look like The Rock. I mean, I'm serious. Not a lot of people.
I mean, you're not wrong, but the way you presented it,
it's a way to tell a joke. But no, like even not a lot of people look like The Rock either.
That's true.
So he has a unique look. He struggled a little bit because Paul Heyman said when he was at 3, he showed more charisma than anybody in the locker room when he was there. But we go back to like 2014 Roman, we're like, this guy can't cut a promo for. And then Cena smoked him 2017, like literally to the point where Roman actually got mad. And like you saw Joe getting upset because Cena was burning him. But he got better. And not only that, he started being himself. And then it became less of, I can't talk to. No, I can. I'm just talking the way that I want to now. And
I read an article because it was released by the Cage Side.
Yeah.
You know that the Wrestling Cage Side, they're like Roman and Paul Heyman were not going to come back after COVID. You saw that article?
No, I did.
They said
also put that in ESPN. Yeah.
Yes,
they said that he was not going to come back because to be honest, he didn't need to.
They said that he would only come back if they agreed to do it
his way.
Take his way, and his way was to present this way and let him talk the way he does, and they said yes. And obviously it's worked out because look at this.
Yeah, because Roman's not scripted by anybody. He and Paul Heyman do bullet points together, and then they go out there and just speak. They don't do
obviously
scripts.
It's still proofed. So
yeah,
everything is still going to be proofed.
Yeah.
But they're going to keep the message the same. They just might word it differently to fit their audience.
Well, I mean, at the same time, this guy. No, wait. I almost said something that he said when he was in the Cena feud, and you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it here, but it was a little nickname he gave to Cena. That's all I'll say. But anyway, with Roman, he's not gonna. Tonight he's not gonna drop the belts.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, his shoulder's dislocated. We don't know if anything's torn or anything or if he has to get surgery. And if you look at him on Instagram, he seems like he's doing fine. And he's not going to let the company take this belt away from him. Plus, that would really stop his momentum.
It's going to be like what they did with Finn Balor whenever he had to drop his Universal title literally after winning it for one day. That would blow.
The reason why that happened with Finn... Excuse me, and the reason why Finn is where he is now is because they put the belt on Finn because he was hot coming out of NXT. I mean, and he was. And here's the thing: Vince will never believe in a cruiserweight. That has not changed.
He believes in Miz. Miz is about a cruiserweight.
No, Miz is 220.
Finn Balor's at least 180.
Doesn't work. No, I'm not knocking. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm shaking my head like that doesn't matter to Vince.
To me, I understand. He is a little bit. Well, dude, you look at Ricochet.
And we see how the Intercontinental Champion is still getting beat by Austin Theory. The reality of it is that
he's 190.
Yeah,
Balor.
Exactly. So when Finn won the title and got hurt, Vince was like, "See, he's a little guy. Little guys get hurt."
It was a neck and it was a neck and shoulder, right?
No, it's just shoulder. Dislocated it from the buckle.
The buckle bomb.
And he popped it back in, and then but yeah, that right there sealed his fate because when he came back, never sniffed that title again ever, and was doing mid card stuff, and because that's just how Vince sees him. Now, do I think he fits in an AEW? No, I would literally stop watching AEW if I see Finn Balor there because I don't want to see him
at
there.
This point,
it's bad enough I have to see Samoa Joe there.
Here's the thing: at this point, it's just all the WWE rejects are going there.
AEW fans, remember the WWE picked up guys from WCW.
I would understand if they picked up, how like we got AJ Styles from like New Japan. If they, picked up some more people over there, like actually good talent, instead of just being like, oh, the WWE cut you, come over here and we'll let you,
Because my name's Tony Khan and I need action figures to play with. Yay. No, and the reason why they can't go to New Japan is because Kenny Omega, for all you other folks out there, I love Jim Cornette. Kenny Olivier likes to get bad outlaw Japanese talent. Michael, knock it off and get off my TV. Michael Nakazawa, the guy with the baby oil gimmick and all that other stuff. Kenny Omega likes to bring silly people from Japan.
Yeah.
And they don't get over because, no. But what I will say as far as the WWE, so in conclusion with WrestleMania and the WWE, I honestly think I've heard people say this, the WWE looks like they're going up a little bit.
We did talk about a lot how it was that we're in that transition phase, that awkward phase, and I agree right now we are getting out of it because that WrestleMania.
We're getting out because that WrestleMania was good. It was actually very good.
So what would you say in the recent? Let's take the recent 2022, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. When was WrestleMania 30?
What? That was 2014.
We'll go to 2014. Well, how would you put it? Because that's the one where Bryan beat
Batista
Yes.
and Orton and Triple H. Basically, you beat all the members of Evolution. That's
Yes.
not Ric Flair.
How would you? What do you think in the past 10 years? How does this WrestleMania match the rest of the last 10 years?
It was better because, you know, with
I know that's very broad, but like
no, it is, but at the same time, I remember for me the WWE was one of those promotions where you could knock it all you want, but when they do something right, they do it right. And I think, you know, the past few years, this is 10 years, but 2012 was when I got in, and it's great that you asked me because 2012 was when I got into professional wrestling. I got in at the age of 10, and I got in with the Rock and Cena feud.
at 29.
That was 28. 29 was in New York. 28 was in Miami, where it was Rock and Cena for the first time.
Oh, okay.
And I got into that, and seeing those WrestleManias, WrestleMania 28 was good. I was lucky enough, I was young enough, I was enjoying professional wrestling. I was not listening to internet marks because they were already there.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening to that. So I really enjoyed WrestleMania 28, 29. 30 is when I started, you know, hearing more internet rumblings and stuff like that. 30 was good, but at the same time, 30 was kind of off because Bray Wyatt lost to Cena and people didn't like that. And also,
I would say this is probably. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
but,
you're good.
But my favorite right now is gonna be WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans.
people hated that
People
one.
hated it, but I loved it.
I mean, that's what
because-
matters.
And you know why? Is because for whatever reason, I thought this is the one where they started off with Balor, Rollins, and Miz for the IC title.
Yes, that was the best match.
That
of the
was
night.
the best match and the best way to kick that off. And then, I mean, just to me, I enjoyed it. It was AJ versus Shinsuke. You had Charlotte versus Asuka. That was a huge one. Even seeing the Shinsuke turn.
And that was the WrestleMania Ronda debut, 34, when she had that great tag match against Stephanie and Triple H and Kurt Angle.
And that's why I think this WrestleMania, I would put it at number 2 to this one. In my opinion, I put 34 because I thought this is when I really like dove in. And this is the one I really bought into, and I understand it. But 38, I thought,
38 was good.
Top 3 in the past 10 years.
My favorite Mania is 28 because you had the end of the era match with Undertaker and Triple H.
Yeah.
You had Rock and Cena. You had Punk and Jericho. You had a bunch of great matches.
One, yeah, that was the turn of the generation. Now this new generation.
Those are classic matches to me that I will never forget, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that would be my favorite is WrestleMania 28 in Miami. I really enjoyed those, and I think that, so far, because 31 got saved with the Rollins cash-in, because other than that, people weren't really feeling it.
Oh, that's the only thing people remember about 31.
Was Rollins cash-in.
They literally say the greatest steal or whatever.
The heist of the century.
Heist of the century, thank you.
I went to 32, and I enjoyed that, because I got to
Jose said it was terrible. He didn't like that one. He
liked it when he was there. Yeah, it was here again. He liked it when he was there, but then he watched it again and was like, it was terrible.
And that's the thing he was talking about, because he kept on saying how great it was, and I understand, like, some of these matches were good, but at the same time, in person is very different from seeing it on TV.
Well, because you're enjoying the experience. And,
exactly.
I got to see The Undertaker live, which meant the world. I got to see Triple H live. I got to see The Rock live. I got to see Stone Cold live and Mick Foley and Shawn Michaels. All these guys that I played in video games and never gotten a chance to see, and I knew about and watched their matches. I got to see them. Cena, got to see him live again, which was, it was fantastic. And, 32 had some good moments. Sasha Banks. I got to see Snoop Dogg live, which I've now can say.
That was cool.
I can say that.
And now that's her entrance. Like,
yeah, that's her entrance.
Her new
theme,
entrance is the
which is better. I like it better.
Yeah.
32 in theory, the card was good, but because here's why 32 fell off. This is why the last WrestleMania in Dallas wasn't as good as this one. Roman was not over.
Yeah.
And he wasn't over.
Actually, we'll do that. Let's see. We'll compare it to
32
to this one. So I'll pull up the card and we'll see.
I can remember most of it. It was Undertaker and Shane, Roman and Triple H. The Rock had an impromptu match with Rowan, and then Cena came out. There was Styles, his debut Mania against Jericho.
Roman defeated Triple H.
I-
Cena
I-
returns and joins The Rock at Mania. Baron Corbin won the 3rd annual Andre the Giant.
Boo.
Undertaker defeats Shane McMahon.
Yep.
Apparently sets all-time attendance record.
It did. Yeah, we were over 100,000 people.
Wow.
Yep. And that record has not been broken.
I don't think it'll ever get broken
No.
because
Not
what
never
stadium
again.
holds 100,000? You have to go to England to the O2. You know what I'm talking about, like the soccer stadium. You have to go in the soccer stadium to beat that. Charlotte defeats Becky Lynch and Sasha to become the new first WWE champion. Brock Lesnar takes on Ambrose.
That was the match that people hated.
Yeah, and I remember that match.
That
I
was-
didn't understand why.
Well, because what happened was, and Paul Heyman even talked about this, Moxley wanted to do a lot of hardcore stuff.
but
And
he's not a
Lesnar had to
hardcore.
go fight in the UFC, I think, after that match, after that feud. And Lesnar was not having it. And he was like, no, we're not doing that. And so then that's what turned into suplex. Boom, bam. You know, if we're going to be honest, that was the genesis of Brock Lesnar's finisher spam matches. Because the Cena match...
And that's when it was also the Cena match.
Well,
it
no,
started a
because-
little bit, but what caught fire whenever Dean Ambrose, because then everybody started counting, and we all did the 2, and we all
Yeah.
had our signs, the paper for the
and
suplex
then
count.
you know, he did the spin, boom, bam, and, you know, all that stuff.
I mean, you look at this card, and you don't think it's terrible, but I do agree. You know, Roman Reigns is not over against Triple H.
No.
John Cena and The Rock obviously was a big thing.
Over like God.
Yeah.
Again.
Baron Corbin. I mean, this is.
Boo. But see, the thing
Well, this is back then. Back then, he was very over.
not very over, but he was coming from NXT, and there was promise with him
Yeah.
when he was the lone wolf character. But then he
Not this stupid.
not the king, not bum, not happy. He was the lone
Yeah.
wolf. with
Charlotte, Becky, and Banks. Wasn't
Fans-
that in a steel cage too?
No. A lot of people weren't happy with Charlotte winning. They wanted Sasha to go
Of course,
over.
it's because we all love Sasha, man. Sasha deserves it, and WWE just doesn't.
I mean,
see her.
okay, for one, Sasha is eye candy for sure, and two, it's one of those where it's like,
But she can wrestle though.
in my opinion, she's the most talented out of all of them.
Yes,
I-
she can work with anybody.
I enjoy Sasha matches more personally,
yes.
but I mean,
Um,
I just enjoy looking
the
at
League
Sasha.
of Nations and the New Day.
Oh my God. That was a
Jericho
bore.
and AJ Styles.
Yep.
Intercontinental looks like a 5-star.
That-
Six.
that-
The Zack
that-
Ryder.
The ladder match where Ryder won, I think that was Cody's last mate. That was Cody's last
Stardust.
Mania.
It
'cause
says
when-
Stardust.
'cause
Yeah.
that's when he was Stardust. Yeah.
It says Ryder defeated Owens, Zayn, Ziggler, Stardust, The Miz, and Sin Cara.
Yep.
The Usos and the Dudley Boys. That was a cool little
I think
tribute.
that was pre-show.
Wow.
that
to
was
bring the
pre-show.
Dudley Boys to pre-show. Wow.
That was kickoff show material.
Total Divas defeat BAD and Blonde.
Boo. Oh, okay.
That's the one where Nikki. No. Brie retired. Brie, not Nikki.
Brie retired, yeah.
And then Kalisto and our boy Ryback.
Boo.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the card is a lot better this time around, but I mean, I enjoyed this one a lot better, honestly, than the 32. And I think,
Yeah, me too.
hopefully, you know, I saw this, and I agree with some people, the internet marks, as we say.
Well, they are.
Yeah,
They're internet
They're
marks.
they're hoping the good internet marks, at least. They're hoping that you know, the WWE keeps up this momentum because
They should.
It sucks when you have such a good production and then all of a sudden you just drop the ball, just like nothing, you know?
No, 100%. And here's the thing. They should, because it's a great time in wrestling for them to keep it up.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. Well, I mean, we got
We-
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Overall, I said 8.5. You say
7.5, yeah.
Tonight is the start of the new storylines.
The new
and
storylines,
so-
the new characters, Raw after Mania. Basically, WWE has 5 big shows, okay? You have WrestleMania, SummerSlam,
WrestleMania is our Super Bowl.
WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, but the 5th one is the Raw after Mania, because that's when
New people
New people
debut,
show up,
storylines
become different.
We've had some moments where Paige debuts against AJ Lee, wins
Paige-
the title.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, I'm calling it right now. Bray Wyatt debuts again tonight because he's in Dallas. Why else would he be here?
Now, my thing is, I didn't know we re-signed him.
Nobody. That's the point. Nobody did.
Well, we will find out.
We will find out if he
We
shows
have
up.
Bray Wyatt, Gable Stevenson, Cody
What
Rhodes.
if he joins the new Brood? I mean, if it's not Ciampa, what if it's Bray Wyatt?
It makes sense because Bray Wyatt solo wasn't that great until he was the Fiend.
People will throw babies in the air if Bray Wyatt joins the new brood.
Wow, we're throwing babies in the air.
They will throw babies in the air.
But yeah, it is the Raw after Mania. It is
Very excited,
tonight
yeah.
at 7 p.m. or if you catch it on
USA,
USA,
it's still
on
7
demand, all that. But yeah, come check out Raw after Mania, and then if you have Peacock
No,
TV,
Ryan, we're gonna take you to a wrestling event one day. We're gonna take you to a wrestling event.
But start me off by watching an event first.
Okay,
Bring me in. We'll watch
well,
the show.
you just hear my mark. I said 7 p.m. tonight, boy.
Nah, it ain't gonna be tonight. There's Final Four basketball on tonight, bro. It's the
Yeah,
national
yeah,
championship.
Yeah, they are going to be
Okay,
competing
here's
in
the thing.
ratings.
Wrestling will always trump anything I watch. For Ryan, it's the opposite. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's like way opposite.
low.
But yeah.
I'd watch the first round of the Who Cares Open golf tournament over a wrestling thing.
That is the saddest thing I have ever
You'd rather
heard in
watch
my life.
PGA Tour? Is that what I just heard?
Yeah.
That's the saddest thing I ever heard.
That's how you
Fight
know
me
you're
next
35.
episode.
I
Right.
will.
Fight
I'll have
me next
Jennifer in here
That
to
is
help
how
me.
you know you're 35. Is when you rather watch PGA Tour.
Hey.
I'm just playing.
At least I can take a nap to PGA, man. That's the good stuff.
Okay, that's true.
You taking naps out here? That furthers my point.
No, I'm telling no, you got a point there, bro. You have PGA on, and you have the fan blowing over you, and you laying down. It's the best sleep you ever gonna get, bro.
Nighty night.
Woo!
Speaking of nighty night, thank you so much for watching the main event.
Main event.
We'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.
Another hopefully special guest that'll have another fun segment. we're
Oh
hoping.
boy, that's gonna be great.
Thanks so much to Dan Bala and Mark Lambert for letting us use the Green Studio deep in the heart of Denton, Texas.
The Green.
Until next week.
Boom.
See you later. Woo. Bye. Have a great time.
Peace.
Word.